Hello and welcome everyone to the final day of Riyadh Masters 2023. We started out this tournament with 20 of the best teams in the world, and now we only have 3 teams remaining.
Assalamu alaikum. Ahlan wa sahlan bikum. في اليوم النهائي في Riyadh Masters 2023.
Expect the unexpected. $15 million are on the line. 5 players will be leaving this tournament $5 million richer.
في هذا اليوم سنشهد اللا متوقع وقلب شتى الموازين. فكونوا جاهزين. أنا سونامي ومعي فانسي في المسرح.
That's right, Tsunami. Team Spirit are once again waiting in the grand finals. They made it out last year, and now they have another shot at becoming legends and claiming the Riyadh Masters 2023 title.
الجيم النهائي في رياض ماس في lower bracket سوف يبدأ الآن. متحمس جدا للمباراة.
That's right, Tsunami. Before we get to the grand final, let's see who can make it out of the lower bracket. TALON versus Team Liquid is a match that is no stranger to this stage. And now, we're gonna see it again, but we all know how the last time ended. But this time, we're gonna see if Team TALON can do it again, and they can beat Team Liquid, especially after what happened last time.
تيم ليكويد وتالون بينهم قصة طويلة، واليوم سوف نشهد نهايتها في رياض ماسترز. يلا نبدأ.
Let's bring out the first team.
Liquid! While one streak ends, another one continues. Game and Gladiators were not able to make it to Grand Finals, but Team Liquid still can. They got one more step ahead of them, though. They have a history of beating Talon in lower bracket finals, though, if we think back to the Lima Major.
تيم ليكويد الفريق اللي ما حد كان متوقع انه يبي يوصل اصلا الى النهائيات، لكن فاجأوا الكل، فازوا على تالون في المباراة اللي ما حد كان متوقع انهم يخسرونها، لكن جاء الوقت اللي يعيدون الكرة مرة ثانية ويسوونها مرة ثانية في اللور براكت فاينل، لان بعدها راح يتوجهون الى الجراند فاينل على طول. بس خصمهم مين؟ كلنا عارفينهم، بس خلونا نرحب فيهم اول. رحبوا معنا بفريق تالون. ريدمشن ارك راح تبدا الان. زي ما احنا عارفين في المباراه الاخيره المفروض انهم فازوا، احقيتهم انهم يوصلون للجراند فاينل بدون ما يروحوا للأول براكت كانت لهم، لكن فريق ليكويد قالوا لا، احنا بيكون عندنا رد ثاني بعد الباك دور اللي شاهدناه من زاي. فريق تالون اخذوا يوم كامل بريك، ارجعوا للأول براكت وقالوها هم في المقابله، احنا ما يهمنا احد، احنا جايين نكسب البطوله بالكامل.
Start believing in second chances, because you're in one. Talon faced off against Liquid in the upper bracket final, and you could have simulated that game 1,000 times, and you'd never know who would win.
مستحيل اننا نعرف مين بيكون الفائز. تيم ليكويد في اخر مره ادائهم في الجيم وصلوا للجيم الثالث، حاولوا انهم يفوزون، الباك دور حق زاي انقذهم في اخر لحظه، وزاي قالها بنفسه، احنا المفروض ما فزنا، احنا المفروض ما نكون متواجدين في نهائيات، لكن تالون كان عنده رد ثاني وبالاخير رجع لهم مره ثانيه في اللور براكت.
Well then, there are only 2 more opportunities that we're going to do this, Fancy. One more time. Gentlemen, get to your computers, get to the game, and let's start this lower bracket final.
على طول نبدا الجيم النهائي في اللور براكت وعلى الاستوديو.
Shukran like us, Tsunami, we're Fancy, as we are about to get ourselves into the lower bracket final. Talon Esports taking on Team Liquid. Both squads have been here before. This matchup has happened before. But when the stakes are this high, Purge, when there's potential for $5 million on the line, you can take nothing for granted.
Yeah, you can't. You have to bring your best performance. You have to throw everything else that happened that's hurting you away, and you just got to focus on picking the best heroes and playing the best Dota.
Yeah. Any surprise picks that you've seen here, Lacoste, that could be whipped out by either of these squads that you feel has been very solid but not necessarily picked enough?
I mean, new meta formed as tournament progressed, so we've seen like most of the teams opening up with like, you know, maybe your position 5 plus 1 core, your mid laner, but at the later stages of the tournament, like we've seen, Team Spirit, first phase Faceless Void, Talon picking up Terrorblade, Team Liquid, Morphling, Medusa in the first phase, so you want to have some late game security. Like, when it comes down to picks, I didn't see too much variety, maybe some from Jabs, like something special that other offlaners didn't play as much, because he's playing some offlane Winter Wyvern, Meepo, and Brewmaster. Like, this hero was pretty much nowhere to be seen, but he banged it out and got a dub on it. So, you know, the Jabs has a really big hero pool, and should be careful how you approach it, because a lot of the times you'll see Talon last picking his hero for a good reason.
Yep. And Fear, one of the things we've seen Talon Esports do better than most squads at the tournament is how they utilize the first pick, which they do have this game yet again on the dire side. If you're Team Liquid, what hero are you most afraid of removing from the pool with Talon having first pick?
Oh, that's one of them right there, the Snapfire. Number 2 is going to be Undying. And something that Gaiman insisted on banning when Talon was first pick all 3 games was the Batrider, I recall. And I think that's something you just kind of got to let through in these games and find a way to deal with, because we've seen this Snapfire, you open up with Makoto, it gives him that late game security to the point where Savage all of a sudden is like, I could play a Monkey King, Makoto's going to back me up in the late game. Or he can be like, hey, this is a good Faceless Void game, now we got Faceless Void plus Snapfire, so get rid of that. And then Undying, we look at Savage's top 4 heroes, Medusa, Terrorblade, Morphling, Faceless Void. These are the hardest carries in the game. Undying enables every single one of those, so they're not going to hesitate to pick Undying here, I think, just so they can get Savage that later hard carry with the most stable laner in the game in the Undying.
This one's an interesting one, because last time they met, Talon did ban Clockwork 2 out of 3 games, so they really are afraid of Boxy's Clockwork for a good reason. There was one game where Boxy got the first blood, got like Orchid early on, and just put a ton of pressure on the map with his build. And they're giving him respect for a good reason. Now there's a lot of OP heroes left in the pool. Dirge, aka Undying. Io's also available. I know that there's Broodmother as
Brood
well.
And Bat as well.
Talon doesn't play Broodmother. Team Liquid, I know we've seen what the hero can do, especially against Talon. So let's see if Team Liquid wants to maybe lean towards it.
And the last time they played was 3 days ago, and in that series they actually played Undying 0 times. It was banned twice in the second phase, so cool to see the meta evolve since the last 3 days.
This was snap pick. This is like instant. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you know that they practice this one.
You just Jabs anti-mage here. This is a situation not many teams have really been into. Jabs, he can play the anti-mage. We saw at Dream League. He was winning with it. It looked good. This is by far the best offlaner versus Medusa in the lane. As long as you compare him with the POS 4, that is quite strong. And I think this is very bold from Liquid. Either they just feel this ET will not allow this anti-mage to play the game in the offlane, but Talon has to make a choice, because they have not yet to do this tournament, I believe. Is it going to work here? Is it going to work into the ET? I love how the meta is shifting. It's evolving. We all knew they were going to first pick Undying. We didn't know how Liquid would respond to it, but Liquid did know they would probably pick a hard carry on that 8th slot there. So it's like, we're just going to pick the hardest carry right away here. If you want to play your offlane anti-mage, go ahead and try it. It's not going to work.
Is there a possibility for Team Liquid to shift this Medusa now to the offlane? Because
that used to be popular. But is it good?
It's a place we're in Dota where you can be talking about Medusa offlane versus anti-mage offlane.
I mean, it's a cool development, because AM has been played one other time this tournament, and it's banned 27 times. And that's basically every time that somebody picks Medusa in the first phase, they're like, ban the AM. So the fact that Liquid knows how dangerous it can be and still picks it, saying, okay, let's try your AM, let's see if we can beat you. But I think it makes sense, because Medusa has been the carry that seems to just win almost all games that she's in.
Yeah.
She does okay in the mid game, and late game she's just always the queen.
I think one of the reasons why we haven't seen anti-mage as a response to Medusa is because Medusa has mostly been picked on 8, so there was no time to respond.
Mentioned, it got banned almost every single game. No one's had the balls to pick Medusa on 2nd pick and their first 2 picks. Like, it has counters, right? The counter list is low. Darkseer's banned in the first phase, so that was one of the heroes that's good. Against the big 3 were the Shadow Demon, the Darkseer, and the Anti-Mage. And normally when you pick Dusa there, you see all 3 of those gone here. But Talon, I don't know. I kind of like what Talon's cooking here, because this Medusa we have seen, it's normally been in perfect situations where it has a perfect lane. The lane, there is no Anti-Mage in the game. There's no Darkseer. but now there is going to be one of those heroes that can make Medusa look really bad, and now the onus is on Talon to do just that. They need to make sure this Anti-Mage makes this Medusa look bad, because this matchup isn't actually that good for Anti-Mage in the late stages of the game. If Medusa's free farming, gets that fast butterfly, and all of a sudden this offline Anti-Mage isn't going to catch up.
But if Anti-Mage is off to a good start, like this matchup, I've seen the games where Medusa is just like, just get me out of this game. I want to start a new one. He gets the like Vanguard, Power Treads, Diffuse the Blade. You don't get to play the game.
What's interesting about this Anti-Mage Purge is that they played it 3 times historically for Jabs. 3 times in Dream League, twice against Team Liquid, and they won both games, so they must be well practiced at this by now.
Yeah, I mean, Jabs is one of the first players, I believe, that started playing offlane AM, so he's kind of the perfect player for this moment on that. And you talked in the pre-show about Jabs playing weird heroes. I actually feel like that hasn't been the case the last couple series. He's been playing traditional heroes, he's been going traditional item builds. So I'm like slightly paranoid that this is going to bring out Jabs' inner wild self. He's like, offlane AM and it's justified? All right, guys, I'm going to do it. Maybe it'll put him on the back foot and like take him off of his like conservative play path.
If there's one guy at this tournament that likes to play carry from the off lane, that's definitely Jabs. So he's like, I'm good to go. You know, he's ready to play, especially against Medusa. If this is going to be off-lane anti-mage, as probably should be, I want to see Q on some like playmaking position 4, something that can secure this lane for anti-mage, because Undying's not really a playmaker. And also Mikoto, I think he doesn't need to be greedy in this one, because you're going to have 23 playing some of the carry. You'll have off-lane as well with the anti-mage, so anything that can make space from Mikoto from this mid lane. So I think like heroes like Temper Assassin, they're out of the option.
Yeah, and I think if you are Liquid right now, we talked about the offlane possibility. Sai has played this before. Dusa is no stranger to 7.33, right? And if you put Talon in a situation where they pick another carry too early, I think you can flex to this offlane Medusa. I think people are going like Phylactery Travels into like Agadams and just playing more of a utility role instead of playing the hard carry role. And then if you have an offlane anti-mage that's not even fulfilling its purpose of shutting down a Medusa, that could be a mistake. So I want to see Talon just wait with their carry pick all the way to the end. But Liquid, they do have the overall last pick, so bans are going to be super important for Talon here, and I think you just need to save your carry for as long as you can on Talon.
I see no stuns. I see no control from Team Liquid. Heroes like Quap definitely comes to my mind. Storm Spirit's banned out, but I can see like anything elusive from the mid lane. Matchup against Pango should be good.
A lot of people like Storm.
Primal Beast is also there.
Banned. Never mind.
Yeah, Primal Beast. We've seen the interaction against Pango. Looks really good. There's literally nothing that can stop Primal Beast from charging in.
I can't help myself. If this was the Chinese region, they would be picking Wind Ranger and buying Diffusal Blade through the mid lane just to double down on the magic.
Triple down, yeah.
I just am not sure that it's necessary. A lot of teams have been playing against, obviously they'd rather play AM, but they've been playing some agility carry. They fit a Diffusal in, and it looks fine, like adequate. I don't think you need to go all in. Like, I think if Talon was able to get Pango in this position, they would have definitely done it, because they're like, okay, well, it's good with Diffusal Blade. They don't need to do anything weird. I think with the Wind Ranger here, I don't even necessarily think they have to buy Diffusal Blade. They can, but you can just go damage items, and that plus AM I think should be enough to deal with the Dusa.
Well, the Mikoto hero is going to be coming out. He has won a spectacular game with this hero already. And focusing on these bans here, obviously Talon removing the heroes away from the side.
I think it's time to shift this Medusa to an off lane right now, because you're playing into Shadow Demon, AM, like Wind Ranger potentially with the Diffusal Blade. I don't think it's necessary, but it feels like it's a rough game for Medusa.
Yeah. They got 2 out of the 3 heroes that counter Medusa the hardest in Dota, being Shadow Demon, Anti-Mage, Darkseer luckily banned, otherwise they may have taken that as well. So it's not going to be... So Medusa's going to get tested this game, let's put it that way. The resolve of Medusa will be tested here. Is it that good where it can play against every counter in the game and still succeed? Is it a possible flex pick? These are things we haven't seen from this hero yet this tournament, but these are questions Liquid are definitely asking themselves.
I love the line pick, though. Lockdown against AM and Wind Ranger is really necessary. It'll make it a lot easier for them to get kills. You have to be careful you don't get spell reflected, of course, but I think Lion is perfect for the circumstance to set up kills for Boxy.
Yeah, let's see how Talon approaches this next banning phase, because they got to figure out where Medusa is going to go.
One thing I love about the line pick as well here is that because they have second pick, it still hides where the Medusa is going, so they can decide later on in the draft what to do with her.
I think what's really impressive as well, yeah, you can hide where the Medusa is going, but even if it is their carry, they have a really good lineup of enabling just one really farmed Medusa. And I kind of look at Talon's heroes, and I just compare the 4 heroes, looking at the left and right, and the left heroes look a lot scarier to me, because like you have a lot of single target on Talon right now. Anti-Mage single target, Windrunner single target, Shadow Demon single target. Then you have like this massive AoE teamfight lineup on Liquid. So Talon might be going a bit too deep, and as we talked about trying to counter this Medusa, where their lineup doesn't look like it can take the fights very well, and it brings a lot of questions down to, can they make Medusa just shut down so hard to the point where he can't get to these timings? Because if it was a 5v5 fight, I'm going to take Liquid's lineup at the current point in time. And if I'm looking at Talon's lineup, if they pick another carry on top of this, carries generally don't solve that issue for you.
So let's see, Underlord gets taken out by Team Liquid. Talon, one of the few teams left that have played that for Jabs. Jabs just played anything, whatever. Enigma getting taken out by Talon. So if we do need more teamfight here, Lacoste, what stands out to you that Talon could go for? And maybe can they shift this anti-mage to a carry?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, looking at the ban from Team Liquid, they banned out Underlord, so there's some possibility where they feel like Underlord would give them exactly that, a little bit more of a global presence. Into Medusa, I feel like there's a good chance to pick up hero like a Tidehunter, which would solve some of the issues. So you have like team fight, you get Anchor Smash on top of Medusa, like you build into items that Medusa doesn't like your Initiator, you build into Heaven's Halberd later on, if this is going to be the offlane Tidehunter.
Zai has just been focused to hell and back. My god.
Yeah.
Talon showing just massive hate to this guy.
If they want to go with like safe lane hero, another hero that comes online really fast that gives them team fight on Talon, I think hero like Monkey King could work, but there's a Tidehunter that we mentioned, just a bad matchup against Medusa, and until Medusa gets like Silver Edge, and then you can actually burst him. So Talon, they'll need to reveal where the heroes are going to go.
Yeah, the teamfight lacking is making me a bit worried for them, and their disable as well is just not good. It's Shackle Shot. So if they do jump on Medusa, like her ability to land her, to start her ulti is pretty high. She can deal with the zombies easily. If there's a Tombstone down, you can hit Tombstone. They do go for the Monkey King though.
I mean, I like that mainly because I think their pick here, if they wanted to win this trade, it has to be a hero that can do well versus Medusa offlane as well. And this is a hero that can do that. They don't have a good lane for Medusa now. Medusa will have to lane into a Monkey King Undying in the offlane. Sounds a little rough, right? And so now they guarantee that they get the Anti-Mage versus Medusa matchup, which is what they really wanted. And I think Savage's hero had to put in a situation where like, no, don't put the Deuce in the offlane. I'm going to scare you off.
Well, there's the last summoned hero remaining for Zai in this tournament. Everything else was banned out against him. Does get his Beastmaster. This gives him some vision, gives him some single target, gives him some much needed hard disable into some of these heroes as well. What do you make of this purge when you see this coming out from Team Liquid?
I mean, it's great for their death ball. They're insanely strong between ET Aura, Beastmaster Aura stuff, and the Dusa. It's mostly going to be about don't let them stun Dusa, jump on her with AM, burn her mana, and kill her within that like 1 to 2 second window. That's the dangerous thing for Medusa. If they can avoid that from happening, save them with Glimmers or Force Staffs or whatever, and then turn the fight, they should be able to out DPS for sure. Like Dusa is going to be able to shred them if that initiation doesn't happen.
I'm looking at the saves inside of Talon. There is Grab Ally later on with the Shard, Shadow Demon with the Disruption. So these two supports will need to be taken out immediately. You know, Pango with the roll, some long distance swashbuckle, Hawk from the Beastmaster. But overall, I do like Talon's draft because they feel like they can play the tempo, and I feel like Monkey King's going to have a really good game.
Yeah, what do you think, Fear? Does this Beastmaster enable Medusa even more?
Yeah, of course it does, but everything's going to be about the early game. In this one, Talon has to do so well in lanes.
Well, Talon Esports have shown that they've adapted their playstyle to be able to play better in the early game and make sure that they can scale into the late game without having to recover their matchups. Before we get into the game itself, let us hear directly from some expert analysis, not just from us, but from one of the coaches who's standing by with Jenkins.
Hello, here we are with Blitz. How you doing?
Hello, not bad. Been nervous.
This is just about the most countered Medusa that I've ever seen. That's like 4 counters, one of them being an offlane anti-mage, and you're still running it as a carry. Are you insane?
A little bit, but you know, sometimes you gotta take big risks to win big.
I don't know if you've answered this in an interview before, but when you walk on the stage, you slap the stage. Why do you do that?
I don't know, it's just for me. I started doing it around TI, and it's just a way for me to wake up and kind of be like, all right, you know, this is us. We're playing here like our court kind of thing. So I liked it, so I keep doing it.
So you guys, last time you you played Talon, of course, it was a very close game. Do you guys have the mentality that like you lost that game? Is that how you're thinking?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that one was a freebie, but you know, these guys are super talented, so you know, they probably deserve that win, but hopefully, you know, they get another chance and we have another exciting series.
Okay, well, I can hear that the game has started, so thank you, Blitz. I appreciate it, brother. That's the wrong hand. We'll go ahead and send it to Sunsfan and Kazoo.
Thank you very much. Liquid versus Talon, best of 3 lower bracket finals for the Riyadh Masters, a rematch of a very epic series.
Oh, yeah.
Kazoo, how are you? We can talk about ourselves for a minute because it is a pause. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm looking forward to some good Dota, as I think the panel touched on a bit of the draft. But I was at this stage in the tournament, sure, one team may have a slightly better draft than the other, but all of these teams have proven that it doesn't really matter. They're all good enough to win some of these games, and what I see from Liquid is that they've stole something that Spirit did against them yesterday, where Collapse played this Beastmaster against their Monkey King Undying. He went for the Boar build, where he spawned double Brian, and he laned pretty damn well. So Zai, with this last pick Beast, I think you should be pretty happy.
Okay.
How are you doing today?
I'm tired, actually.
Probably so are Talon.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because yesterday the games went super, well, it wasn't the games themselves. The servers were taking a dump the entire day. Like, we would be literally in queue for 45, 50 minutes per game just to get a game started. And as a result, obviously Talon in that last series, they got about as much sleep as we did. So will that affect them? Like, have you been in a situation as a pro player where you just didn't get enough sleep the night before?
Most certainly. I mean, the other thing is, I don't know if Liquid have changed that, but they hate early games.
That's
like
true.
Waking up early, so hopefully...
So it's even.
I guess it's even.
And maybe they were even watching that game last night anyway, right? They obviously would have been.
At least some of them, or at least to some extent. So overall, I mean, both teams are going to have a long day ahead of themselves, especially the one that's going to win this matchup.
Oh, yeah.
To then play the finals later against Team Spirit.
Yeah, and that,
we're waiting.
I think regardless of the matchup, what that ends up being, it's going to be a really cool series.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a lot of storylines with Liquid coming from the lower bracket if they were to win this, to face off against Spirit again, and then Talon getting an SEA team in the grand finals of such a prestigious tournament. I mean, has that even been done before? Has SEA ever made a finals for like a huge major type tournament?
I don't
feel
think
like so.
SEA's best major placement was that Fnatic at TI6. They
Was
got
it like top 4?
Top 3, I think.
Top 3, okay.
If I'm not
Either
mistaken.
way, yeah, SEA very hungry for
It's
a
about damn
tournament
time.
victory, or even just a grand final appearance. And we are underway now. Smokes on both sides. Let's talk about the lineups, because Jenkins brought it up. So did the panel.
Yep.
I was convinced Medusa would be off lane, which I guess either way it's countered, right?
It's a pretty counter Medusa, but this is another thing where I think the Pango, Lion, and Beastmaster come through pretty nicely. So Lion is going to counteract the SD counter a little bit, because you can just zap away the Illusion Slayer with Hex and also the Shard Mana Drain. You have Pango to help out with the team fight, and Beastmaster, of course, to try and help Mickey like through this mid-game timing. But Talon have played this anti-mage versus Medusa countless times. Maybe even the most out of any team.
Yeah.
So these early laning stages for both side lanes in both lineups is like incredibly crucial.
So we should, let's talk about the anti-mage, because it's only been played once in the entire tournament, which is a little bit surprising to me, because this was like the counter to Medusa when she was beyond broken.
Yeah.
Now she's just
broken.
Kind of broken.
Pretty good, yeah.
But yeah, being able to first to that and then ban out whatever the hell you want to protect your lanes. We'll see how this works out for Jabs and company, but you're right. It does feel like it's going to be a tough Medusa game.
It is just like the nature of the longer tournaments go. Like even yesterday we saw Spirit open up like Faceless Void on 6-7 as well, where Medusa was not really picked on first pick or 6-7 like this, but Liquid going into this game with a strategy. As Talon will get to bust out the first offlane anti-mage against Medusa. Last time this 0-1 it was played as
There's
carry.
3 members of Talon here trying to get a first blood situation. Insania does not quite get blocked by the disruption. Good attempt from Talon. Go through the gate to be able to reconnect with the lanes properly, as Insania has to fight through images of himself. But we'll live through the day. So, okay, again, back to the anti-mage.
Yeah.
Because it is the cool here. I cannot believe I'm calling anti-mage cool.
Offlane anti-mage is cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel bad saying it.
Do you buy Diffusal? Because that was a thing for a while.
You can. Like so you're gonna go for like some Wraith Band Vanguard, and then you kind of go from there. You check if you go Treads Manta, or maybe you want to go Treads Diffusal if you want to go for some crazy good mid-game timing. But I do think that Liquid were aware that this AM can come out, because AM's first few minutes of the laning stage is incredibly important, and I think that's also a big reason why they cover it with this Elder Titan.
Right. Yep, ET, of course, always going up in popularity the deeper you get into tournaments, because he just gives you so much space and Roche control and just massive team fight. And of course, dissuades the other team from picking Agi heroes in a lot of cases.
Yep.
We will be seeing the Monkey King, of course, from 23 Savage. But yeah, we'll see how the laning stage goes for each respective team, because, I mean, do you think one team or the other needs to get off to a better start, or do you think the drafts are close enough that it's not as crucial?
They're pretty close, and it is important for both teams to have a good start, but it's more like if one team has like one very decisive side lane, like I would say if this anti-mage dumps on this Medusa down bottom, Talon are in an incredibly good spot. And what Liquid need to try to have happen for them is that bottom lane goes like somewhat even, or maybe they win it. But the one I'm looking at is Zion as Beastmaster. Like this hero in your early and mid game, he is gonna be your carry if he has a good early game, because he will help you with all the towers, help you push the game forward, help you take Roche. He's 23.
Yeah, wanted to go on Boxy, but Boxy
Brian
felt it inside him. Yeah, the boar
is dead.
Mr. Brian has died. Pet number 1, I believe. As I'm seeing a lot of default couriers in such a prestigious tournament deep inside. And you know, all these players have a lot of money. Begs the question, why have they not purchased any cosmetics for these couriers?
Yeah, maybe then they wouldn't kill them so often.
That's
true.
They
would care more about it.
The little babies. That's Makoto. Haven't really talked about this lane, but the Wind Ranger versus Nisha on the Pango. And relatively even right now, 12-5 to the 11-2. I do think, okay, let's say if you were the captain of this team or the coach for Talon, would you buy Diffusal on AM and Wind Ranger, or neither, or one of?
If you buy it on any, it's like your Monkey and AM. But I think one of them is enough. I don't think you need it on Makoto.
3 Diffusals.
You don't need to buy Diffusal. You can buy 4 if you want. I do like, you want a bit more lockdown. You want this Atos, Gleipnir, so maybe some mid-game BKB as well on your Wind Ranger to kind of just keep it going. Where also one thing I need to mention is Makoto in the matches yesterday, and maybe all the last matches before as well, he's been popping off. Like multiple 10-0, 8-0 games. So I'm also looking at him to maybe try and push forward.
Yeah, he's been destroying. And you can see Q. This is another pseudo counter to the Medusa. Maybe not so much at the moment because the illusions are not super powerful. But the more stat items you buy, the more powerful those illusions will become inevitably.
Yep.
And you kind of can't. I mean, there used to be an old strat where you would just not buy stat items. You'd buy just right-clicky, BKB type things. I mean, we kind of see that a bit from
Go
Medusa,
buy rapiers.
Yeah. The fact that you get the mana shield inherently now makes it a lot different, I feel like.
I mean, they did kind of look at it with the covering of Boxy. I think it's going to be his job later to make sure that Mickey just doesn't get destroyed by these illusions. Because I would say all 6 cores in this game are pretty happy. Like when you are playing this anti-mage, you want to get to this Ring of Health into a slightly earlier Vanguard. And yeah, just every single core kind of getting what they want here.
And if you're from Talon's perspective, obviously they did play against Liquid the other day, and it was, I know it's been talked about to death how that transpired. Do you think that this experience is going to help them in this best of 3? Because so far, in the 2 best of 3s they played since, they have crushed. Like, it has not really been that close.
I feel like it can only help them, especially after they played well. After what happened to them, I think it only made this team stronger, like some anime power, as I've never seen this. Insania spawned his Spirit and ran it through the Twin Gate, and now it's coming from top back to bottom.
Yeah. I thought we saw that this tournament.
We did?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. That's some nerdy stuff. I love it.
Yeah, he's going to get a ton of damage. Of course, he can only do it so often.
He also
you want to line it up with the creeps as well.
Yeah. He did spot out Ollie, who's making a nice move down bottom. Of course, the
84 damage, good.
The 5-minute moves with the siege creep. It's also nighttime. You've got the blood grenades going as even 23 Savage. We've got the whole family down here.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Insania, not able to actually utilize that extra massive damage. So Talon wasting a bit of time trying to chase him out.
This is definitely very good for Talon. Like, if you have a small opportunity down here where Jabs gets to farm more than Mickey, or like he gets to speed up his Vanguard, like once you have it, you can slowly bust out this Medusa out of the lane, and you can already see Mickey. He's kind of going back and forth.
6-minute rune. Nisha is going to use his ult to secure the Arcane. Well worth it.
Pretty damn good for him as he gets the Arcane rune. So he's just going to be chilling a little bit, and I would say Zai as well. We saw this yesterday, or let's see. Helm of Iron
stacks
Will.
are up along with the Tombstone. Blood Grenade used as well as Boxy TPs in to control 23 Savage. So not really a very good attempt here from Talon.
The Helm of Iron Will this early on, it just does a lot for Beastmaster. It like more than doubles your armor as well. So Zai gonna be A-okay up here. Nisha probably gonna be waiting for his next ult with the Arcane Rune. And that was one of these first tier 1 towers. Like, this is another reason why Pango is so great with these summon heroes. You can easily rotate up top and maybe help Nisha take this Talon tier 1 safe lane tower later.
Yep, as the 7-minute wisdom runes are about to spawn. And ooh, Insania trying to go for a steal.
There's a disruption, of course.
Yeah.
Lots of TPs.
Couple TPs, so Insania is spotted, won't bother trying to get that wisdom rune. He's going to get surrounded. Echo Stomp coming, but canceled by 23 Savage. So making the rotation over.
First blood.
7 minutes, first blood. I actually forgot that you could kill people in Dota until now. But I think this is something that we do see in these like extremely important games. Yeah. Teams are just a little bit more passive early on.
That's 23 with a nice TP. I wasn't too sure if that was going to be worth it, but does get himself the first blood. Of course, this does open up the top lane a little bit for Zai, which we touched on earlier. But he's been having a phenomenal tournament, and Beastmaster, if this hero gets off to a good start, he is scary.
And you can see the wraparound here. Mickey might be in some trouble.
Scan connects at the very end.
Yeah, true. And you can see the rest of Liquid now on the way. This might actually turn into a little mini fight. And smoke from Insania on the backside. Q will end up popping it, get some vision now. It is nighttime as a lot of damage being applied to Mickey, a lot of mana drain as well, but Nisha coming in with the Rolling Thunder, Echo Stomp, and now the save from Q. And Jabs will be able to blink away. They will be able to kill the Tombstone, and Q will go down to the briefcase, man. It's all business here for Insania. They bring a lot of heroes down here, so they only get the 1 kill, and Talon get nothing out of it.
It's honestly good. Ooh, 23.
Oh, I may have spoken too early. 23 Savage getting control. Boxy's going to die. Focus fire onto Nisha as Ollie making his transition over as well. Swatch to the other side, but they find the vision, and Makoto's focus fire continuing on. 23 Savage pretty low, but he gets off the Wukong's command, and Nisha does drop with the help of the power shot. Now Insania looks to be next. Mana Boy doing exactly 0 damage, it looked like, as the double kill comes out for Makoto.
Big moves by Talon here. It looked like Liquid were going to have a great smoke down bottom, right, to help defend the tower. Well, you have Zai pushing up the top lane.
Level one Mana Void is one of just an awful spell.
Yeah, it's
truly
pretty
awful.
It's pretty awkward, right? If you get it on the Medusa later without the mana, that's pretty good. But I love how Talon are playing, like this fast pace kind of tempo. I feel like in the last few days we've seen a bit of a switcheroo when it comes to the early game. Lots of twin gates, even from like just your carries. As both these teams, they play a lot of Monkey King. They know what's up.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool to see that. I mean, this patch has been out for quite a while in terms of not like the letter patch, but the big patch, the new Journey patch, or whatever the hell it's called. With the gates, because the gates haven't been changed really at all, and we're still seeing teams adjust and create new strategies around it. As looks like both tier 1s will be traded, the top and bottom respectively.
Oh, Talon off to a good start. Do have the net worth lead, and Jabs off to a very, very good start. Of course, we've mentioned he's got the Vanguard. Getting closer to Treads. I don't know if they're coming or if he's close to them, but either way, like Medusa being kicked out of the lane earlier now than perhaps usual, on top of the nerfs, like now your split shot is only level 2. So Mickey is going to have to kind of screw off into the top area of the map. So he's too unhappy, but still hurts this game a bit.
When you pick an offlane anti-mage, and we kind of see this with maybe Axe being the most comparable example. Well, maybe not even that, because Axe is at least is an initiator. You don't really have an aura builder, you don't have an initiator. Like, is that... You can see Aurora come out onto the other side of the map.
Good kill.
Looks like Q will take a tumble. But could you look at that as a negative aspect of the lineup that Liquid can try to take advantage of?
Well, kind of, but the thing is, he's still kind of owning one of the win conditions from the Radiant team, and even though you don't have auras, Anti-Mage, if played very well from the offlane role, he's still kind of a tanky hero that can go in first. He doesn't give you the lockdown, but he gives you the body. Because he has the magic resistance, the Vanguard. And I mean, this is where Liquid will have to push forward later with the Beast and Medusa. Like, I think their minute 20 to 25 will be stronger than Talon, even if they're slightly behind.
There's a Helmet Dom onto Zai, of course, going for the eventual Overlord. And he's having a very good game, like you talked about. It's important for Liquid that he does so. Top 2 net worth right now.
And I think that Talon know this, which is why they want to smoke up there. I do think that Boxy was kind of pinging it out, as currently he's trying to pull the lane back to give Zai a better position, then maybe also break the smoke. I mean, at least for now, Liquid are reading this move. Like, they know you need to destroy or try to slow down this Beastmaster from minute 10 to 15. So good job from Liquid reading the smoke.
Indeed. Atos now picked up by Makoto, and that's exactly what that smoke was designed to do, is find somebody and kind of reveal the new item from him. It's been a very popular item on a lot of mid-heroes.
He's just so good on his
By a lot, I mean
heroes.
Windrunner and Snapfire.
I mean, I guess Meepo.
Yeah, true.
Even don't know what happened to that hero, but he certainly died off a little bit.
Yeah, it felt like he was having a lot of success early in the tournament, and then
he was the talk of the town,
so
and then
much.
he just kept getting dunked on.
Yeah. It's funny because they just keep adding new things for that hero to be able to survive. It's apparently
still
not
too hard.
Still. Yeah.
Game slowing down a little bit in terms of pace here, as the active rune will come out once more, of course, minute 12 here. Nisha's a little late on this. Even 23
Regen
here.
rune for Makoto. Still has the shield rune activated. Very slow pace game to start.
Liquid are fairly happy with the state of the game. I think if it doesn't like go more out of control in terms of the net worth, if they can get more levels and you get to this Helm of Overlord, you get to the Diffusal Blade timing, and you kind of try to force a Roshan fight before Talon gets some of their core item timings, I think they'll be pretty happy. Even with a slight net worth deficit, your tempo and pace later is going to be really strong.
And then for Talon, what's their game plan? Are they waiting for, I'm assuming some BKBs are on the way, or at least trying to be developed here?
I mean, they're still quite far away from some of those. I would say when you play the offlane AM like this, you're looking for more skirmishy fights, like 2v2s and kind of 3v3s. Maybe around this nighttime, you can look to make another one of these smokes with Makoto. Maybe you get the AM in there and you try to invade somewhere. But I don't really think they're necessarily on a big-ass timer themselves on Talon. It's just more about making sure you get the most out of the map, since Liquid are kind of just doing the same.
And from Talon, it actually, BKB is a bit of an awkward item, because there's Roar, there's Stone Gaze, there's Earth Splitter. Like, but you kind of have to get it against a Lion and Pango.
I think Talon, oh, there's the smoke that we touched on. They did also bring Jabs into this one, so I do like it. He's also drawing out that if there's a fight, maybe you guys should come over with Monkey and SD.
Yep, Zai, I believe he's spotted. The boars reveal themselves, but they find the Elder Titan first.
Tombstone.
Shackle into the focus fire. Tombstone placed as well. It's going to be an easy pickoff onto the support. Obviously, they'd rather have gotten Zai. So I think Liquid not too sad about that happening.
Both teams pretty happy with that. You get to use your heroes with Talon, your Atos, you get a kill, you get some experience, but at the same time, Liquid get to protect the king of the game right now, which is Zai on his Beastmaster. Triple stack Ancients. So, I mean, we said it in the laning stage, but even now, all 6 cores are incredibly happy in this game. There's only 500 difference between number 1 and number 6.
How often do we say that?
Never. Barely ever, I think.
Both teams seem to be okay with just trading. Just farm. Okay, you farm here, I'll farm there. We'll do a gank occasionally to kill a support, but everybody else is very happy.
Yeah, like here it's more about, so both teams are fairly happy with the state of the game, but it's gonna be on Liquid within like the next 4 or 5 minutes, or in rather like 3, 4, 5 minutes to speed it up and really like just pressure up the pace of the game.
We're gonna have a smoke from Liquid onto 2 members. It's gonna be, I believe, the Diffusal reveal.
Yeah, and the Haste Rune as well on the Nisha man, who's queuing up a Blink next. I do like that. You want to have the counter team fight around the game. Into all these illusions, the Monkey King, the Anti-Mage.
Man, both teams so good at knowing when these smokes are out.
I guess if you're Jabs here, you probably just go Manta style. Like maybe you just make sure that you can continue to play the map here if you're Talon, and I think you just try to go for the scale. If you, let's say you all in some Diffusal Blade, I could see that idea as well from Jams, but then it kind of means that they're going to be looking to fight in the next couple minutes, and I don't know if that's going to be that easy here into this Liquid draft.
We might finally have a push here onto the tier 1 mid as Liquid have a Helm of Dom creep. Or is that an Overlord already?
I think that's Dom. He's close to the Overlord. As Liquid, we've seen this plenty of times now, kind of around the time where you would like to go Roche. You try to take the enemy safe lane tower, you try to take the enemy mid tier 1. Now they can slowly rotate back up top. As it is nighttime, Roshan is up here.
You missed one objective when you said all that.
What did I? Tormentor?
That's right.
Yeah, 50-minute Tormentor, guys.
4 minutes away.
It's Torment time.
Manta is picked up now by Mickey.
So Echo Maelstrom is going to be the choice here by 23. It's going to help you play the map and help you with some of the scaling as well. Jams did queue up the Manta style, does now have the Yasha, so it is, I would say it is quite clear how Talon will want to play this game. You're going to have a Tricore, you're going to look to scale, and Liquid, sure, you're not too happy if the game drags out, but you're hitting some of these crazy timings where you're going to want to shut down the map a little bit, take some outer towers, get his first Aegis on the map.
And Mickey will be going for a Butterfly next.
It's going to be a good one.
For the side of Talon, Jabs, of course, again, if you're just joining us, offlane AM. We'll be going for Manta himself as he's going to blink out just as Nisha uses the ult. So no connection found, and again, just dodging fight after fight. And it's not just Talon. Liquid has been doing the same on the other side.
It's not the easiest for both teams to kind of catch each other, right? You can see that they're playing very well on the map. They're evading moves. And Boxley doesn't have a blink yet. Nisha doesn't have a blink yet. So once those come out, it will help them. But Talon, probably fairly happy with just what's happening on the map, right? Jabs continues to farm top. Dodges all the rolls, but here you've got the 70-minute Roche from Liquid, and it looks like Talon are looking to TP. This is a hard contest for sure, so you're going to have to bust out some really good gameplay here.
Yeah, they don't have Pango roll, they know that, but Roche already at half HP thanks to Zai.
I mean, if they surprise them, there's no Mickey here.
Yeah, that's true. Power shot's going to reveal everything. Are they actually going to stay in the pit? Will they commit to Roche? No. They're going to back away. Flesh Golem popped by Ollie. As a Swash not really going to connect on anything here, as the fight kind of scattered. So both sides just very hesitant to actually commit to anything as Mickey does TP in for a Roche off on Roche #1, which is not that common.
Well, so Talon are delaying this fight. I would be surprised if Liquid back off here after all of it. Flesh Golem was used. Tombstone was actually on cooldown as well, so...
Yeah, and now Nisha will have ult in 5 after all that.
It's still on Liquid to take back the area and try to take this fight. I do think they are stronger, so let's see how Talon will respond to this one.
Smoke from Liquid, trying to find somebody. Just one pickoff might even be enough as Ollie getting slowed by Brian the Boar. Echo Stomp is there, and down he goes to the Black Dragon.
Looks like that will be Roche, but I just love some of these plays. Like, even for Talon, this is not a very high percentage play, but there's definitely scenarios where if you catch Liquid slip in there, you can catch him by surprise and maybe take this Roche, but either way, you only lose one guy. Jabs goes straight back to bottom, Makoto goes to mid. They're both happy, and Liquid, they get themselves those Aegis.
Roche #1 going the way of Liquid. Aegis on Tanisha. And he's got a blink, so, I mean, I would assume that means they're going to want to fight. A lot of times we see the Aghanim Scepter after the Diffusal for the mid lane Pango, but opting to not do so. So going for the more initiator route, utility.
Both teams playing on each other's wards. Sneasha.
Oh, you steal a token there? All right.
Easy token steal. As I do like that you're going for the blink here on Nisha rather. Like, you have some of the scaling already right now, right? You've got the Beastmaster who's very strong. You have a super fat Medusa as well. It's more on you like to really try and catch Talon around the map because they're still incredibly happy. We've talked about their scaling and it's not really ending. Ollie.
Yep, he's spotted and killed very quickly.
Not the nicest thing when you play Undying and you just run into some summons and a Beastmaster Roar. Makoto even just using Focus Fire to farm out the Ancients. So it's really showing you the state of the game. You just want to keep farming, get the scale going.
Yeah, such a change of pace from what we've been used to in this tournament. And I wonder if it has to... Do you think it's more about how deep they are now and how important these games are becoming, as opposed to just the lineups inherently being this way? Because I feel like other than the AM, like we've seen lineups like this before, and the aggression has just been non-stop in a lot of the games.
It's both how deep you are in the tournament, but also the nature of the lineups and the fact that you're just playing against some of the best players in the world. Like Talon tried to go for more aggressive plays, but Liquid dodged it, and same way, kind of the other way around.
They've been reading each other like a book. Tormentor at the 20-minute mark, 30 seconds to spare. And Q's gonna get it, so we'll get the Demonic Cleanse, which this game, lucky shot, it'll take off.
It will take off quite a few things. Like, it's pretty good. You've got the lucky shot, diffusal slow.
If Mickey gets Ags, does it take off Stone Form? Like when you use the Mystic?
It probably should. And I think also since SD purchased a strong Dispel, it should take off Hex from Lion, which is pretty damn good. And overall, just having the heal too. Because you have heroes that want to go in and they want to stay in with the AM, with the Monkey, with the Wind Ranger. I like what Liquid are doing though. Speeding up the pace of the game. You're getting close to Mickey's Butterfly as well, and just slowly but surely gaining more map control. Because Talon's tower damage is not really that great.
Yeah, I think the Demonic Cleanse is just a basic Dispel, so I don't think it's going to do anything to Hex.
Then it will not do that.
That would be
pretty
unbelievably OP. That would be like a Photic Shield just constantly on you, right? And then a heal after the fact. Butterfly from Medusa. So, Mickey, I mean, he's not going, he didn't go Scotty, so I'm actually very interested in what his next item is going to be, because he does have to worry about the AM eventually.
I mean, you could just go all out. I could see him go for like just straight up damage, because if you want to speed up the pace of the game, I think you could do that with just like some Chrysalis Silver Edge or straight up Daedalus, but we'll see what he thinks. Surely he must know better than me, idiot analyst.
Maybe.
Surely. As another tier 2 just going down. Because sure, on Talon, you've got the scale and you're killing all the creeps, but I think eventually they'll have to think about how to defend the high ground. As the high ground defense, of course, isn't too bad. You've got the SD, you've got the
Gleipnir hitting an entire zoo of units. And there's the fortification. Tier 3 already at half HP. Liquid, will they stick around? Obviously the Aegis is there for quite a while on Nisha.
BKB is completed on 23. As even Jabs might be, so he's currently queuing up a BKB, so it looks like that all Talon want to do is itemize to win this one fight. And honestly, if you manage to win this one decisively, it puts you in a really good position.
Yeah, they placed down the Tombstone to slow this down as well. As you can see, Jabs was pushing the top lane, gets his BKB, so I think that is probably go time for Talon. They're going to lose their tier 3 tower. Their Rax is exposed. Tombstone eventually falls. And there's the jump in for 23 Savage. Gets a roar off though onto him. Looking for the Wukong's command. Finally will come out as Nisha going to the backline with the Rolling Thunder, but the disruption will save him. 23 Savage getting fingered, but he's going to be able to walk away as Boxy goes down to the focus fire. Jabs really deep. Gets off his BKB and will not die as a result. So after all that, one kill on a support. But Talon do defend.
Well, Talon get to hold. Okay, it looked a little bit dicey actually. It's 23 in that fight. He did drop kind of low.
Jabs went really deep. I assume he tried to assassinate Mickey.
He went like mega deep. I think he was on the supports at first, and then he was kind of trying to man up on Mickey, but this Butterfly, sure, you've got some BKBs to man up, but it's not that easy to hit into Mickey here with a really nice roar from Zai. Even before the Wukongs comes up with a beautiful Shackle from Mikoto. And you can see Jabs, he's kind of like in the backline here, but his damage isn't the best yet. He needs another 1-2 items here on this anti-mage.
Yeah, missed 50% of his attacks there against Mickey. Unfortunate for him. And back to the farming, although we have a smoke from Talon. See if they're able to find anybody, perhaps just for wards.
23 doesn't mind going BKB here, as he does need it for the fights, but I feel like maybe Jabs wanted a little more out of his first BKB usage, or hopefully before the next fight he can squeeze in his own Manta style. Because he will be a menace in this game if he does get to like Manta Skadi or Manta Basher.
Oh, I thought he had Manta. Okay, so he switched it up to get the BKB first.
Like they were all inning this defense.
Oh, Gleipnir finding Zai. Shackle shot is there.
His
but
BKB's flying out.
He gets Demonic Purge as well as Makoto getting beat down by Gilbert the Golem. And here comes the Rolling Thunder from Nisha. Not finding any connections yet as 23 Savage ready to go on the trees. Looks like they will find the Undying. So Ollie will take a fall. 3K lead for Liquid.
Got a lot of big items once again. Zai's got the BKB. You have, Mickey has got his Dragon Lance. It's going to help you with some more high grounding early stats, and the Crystal is queued up next. There's a 3K lead on Radiant, but in terms of their strength, I think this is more... Oh,
Sania dies randomly.
oh, nice play by 23. Like, getting this kill and cutting this wave, right, as Liquid just want to run down mid. Really heads-up play.
Zai, you can see he's TPing to the other side.
Oh, they scan him out.
They get a Hawk coming out here soon. They get the axes. There's the Hex. 23 Savage is
They
too
got him.
deep. Gets punished for being... Oh, did he pop BKB as well?
That looked
Yes,
like it.
he did. Oh my goodness. All right. Mistakes made from 23 Savage, all to assassinate the position 5 Elder Titan.
Won't look good until Liquid just kind of have the read that, you know, they want to keep farming, split pushing. He's going to be here, and they do catch him off guard now. 4K lead, and I don't really see what stops it now from going up the high ground. Even if 23 respawns, right, they must have heard the BKB.
Yeah. I do believe they did. Now BKB up for Makoto. As yeah, I don't see what's stopping them. I mean, they don't have the Aegis, but they can definitely poke. Surprised they're not going through the mid lane, though.
Well, I guess the summons are going through the mid lane as
Yeah,
Gilbert whacking away.
He's doing a serviceable job for his Masters. 5K lead for Liquid as yeah, now the Monkey King is back.
Gilbert.
But, oh boy. That's a full focus fire just for the Golem. Down it goes. 250 gold the way of Makoto. But they know this BKB is down, at least I assume so. We'll see if they try and fight on the Liquid side.
I mean, there's a way where you just play the map cleanly here, at least for Liquid. You're going to hawk up Roche and see, you know, the moment it spawns, you're going to force a fight there again. Because your Roche fight is still disgusting. You've got the Bongo Boots on Insania, you've got all the B-Stars. And Mickey, even though he's playing into counters, I would say with his item timings and the heroes he has around him, it doesn't matter that he's counter, because they need more items on the Dire side. You need MKBs, Manta Styles. Even 23 is queuing up a Diffusal Blade, so they're really going all in to try and win this one fight later in the game.
It is a pretty late spawn from Roche. Just under 2 minutes now. And Talon, they're going to smoke up and try to take a fight, which they haven't been able to take any fight yet. Closest to that was that high ground defense that we just witnessed. It's Mickey.
See Mickey.
He's actually alone, but does have teammates in the jungle. Oh, focus fires there. Mickey gets off the Stone Gaze. There's the Shackle to connect. But now the teammates are able to come by as Jabs getting off his BKB, but the Roar from Zai is going to be used onto Makoto as Boxy getting pursued by Jabs. That's going to be the first here to likely die. He does drop Wukong's command on the backside. Going to get canceled. Going to use it now finally. Rolling Thunder from Nisha. Not going to be able to connect too much. Gets out the roll up. Trying to kill off Jabs here as 23 Savage doing a ton of damage. They kill off Mickey. They kill off Zai. And that's going to be a buyback onto the Lion as Jabs trying to get more out of it, but this is an AM. They need the Monkey King. They will be able to get Insania as well. So a big fight for Talon.
That's 4 kills and a buyback as they will eventually, or...
Spoke too soon, perhaps.
23.
No, Decay is there.
Looking for another one.
Strike finding Boxy as well. This is going to be a dieback for him. And just like that, Talon winning this fight handily. They didn't lose anybody.
Oh, they actually got 5 kills out of this fight. Now you have the Diffusal Blade on 23. You're getting closer to your next item on Makoto and Jabs. He's also got 3K gold saved up. Like, you could go straight up Manta. You could go into an Abyss Blade if you want to be really sneaky. Nisha is barely going to try to get out. As Talon just catching Liquid off guard there. Like, if you just have these few seconds to stick onto Mickey. You've got all the mana burns. Great Shackle from Makoto.
Yeah, Roche is going to be up in 10 seconds. Will that be enough time for them to take it without Liquid intervening?
I guess there's an ET Spirit. I do think Talon would love to start Roshing and kind of like set up the area.
And Sania getting ready to get to that side of the map.
So
Pretty
they
fortunate
will
for
know.
Liquid that this is a late spawn.
They will have the Hawk Vision there as well. So Talon, after this last fight, they must feel very good about the fights that are to come. So I would certainly expect him to contest. This will be a Roche off.
Q on the other side, the Swash not gonna hit anything, and now into the pit Liquid goes. They have the vision advantage with Astral Spirit, with Hawks, with everything. And we hear the Rolling Thunder going out there, trying to take out this AM so that Medusa
Good
can actually
disruption.
do something. Nice disruption for the save, and Jabs gets off his BKB. Now trying to kill off Box, but it has to blink away. Gleipnir onto several heroes. They're going to lose their Shadow Demon to start. Trying to get off the Wukong's command is 23 Savage, but he gets hexed. He gets stunned.
So much damage.
Doesn't have the damage. He pops his BKB and dies right after again. And now Makoto trying to do as much as he can to Nisha, but he's going to have to run away because they are completely outnumbered. And Jabs, oh, they find him trying to TP out, and he gets destroyed. And Liquid, now that Roche is on the Radiant side, will try to get down there as fast as possible to secure their second Roche.
Oh, Boxy carried that fight so nicely. The Hex on 23 before the Wukongs comes out with the late blink on the high ground to also find Jabs on the TP, because this looked good in the start for Talon. Like, Jabs gets out there using all their spells. You could maybe disengage, but Nisha finds Q here on the sideline, and here Boxy coming in clutch to just keep the fight going.
And this is the second time 23 Savage pops the BKB with like 50 HP and then just dies. Very unfortunate for Talon.
Very back and forth game as here Boxy finds him with the high ground blink. And this is second Roche into Liquid's hands. They needed this.
Yeah, so Aegis, again for Mickey, that's your high ground offensive woman, snake woman.
Snake lady woman.
And the cheese is going to be on Nisha this time. Well, this time being the first, because it is second.
That is true. This time around, oh, it could be Torment time on the way to the high ground.
Is it up?
It is up.
That one already. Oh,
Mickey did swap his item build to a Linken's against this Mana Void or potential Shackles, so we'll see.
They're not going to bother, knowing Liquid.
That's true. I mean, you want to go into this high ground. You're up 5k, you've got this Aegis, I don't blame them.
And you have the siege as well. Jab being spotted by the Hawk.
By Harry the Hawk. Slightly out of range. It's actually on the money.
Right, man.
Nope.
Oh, okay. You're just in the
hitbox of Harry is too big.
Hitbox the Hawk. That's his name. The Shackle onto the Black Dragon, which is doing a lot of the damage here to this Tier 3 tower. Pop the Linken's as Mickey still feeling very safe at the Aegis. They take the Tier 3 and now focusing on the Barracks. 23 Savage and company definitely want to try to contest this.
Jabs in the back.
Jabs is already there. Super far back. He gets roared in the BKB form. 23 Savage trying to get up Wukong's command, but he's going to get destroyed again. That's 3 to make it 4. As Talon may have just lost game 1 just like that. This is going to be a second set. Or they're going to get 2 sets at the very least. Probably Megas, if not just go for Throne.
I think this is a triple set into Poke Tier 4, so what can Jabs do alone here? He's got no BKB, even they're just leaving the creeps to finish up the racks. You've got a buyback on your SD, but that's about it.
That's not going to be enough. As the Illusions will take out the second, and yeah, Liquid are going to get mega creeps. No fortification in sight for Talon. And it feels like it's just several team fights that 23 Savage just not being able to get off his Wukong's command. And even if he does, he's super low HP and they can just burst him down.
I mean, Liquid are pressuring you into these fights, but if you're Talon, you probably would rather try to smoke around and take this fight instead of just fighting from the front, blinking in with your anti-mage. But now, that may have been your last fight of the game. I mean, they are holding for 23.
Yep, they're trying. 10 more seconds. AC online.
AC
for
Daedalus.
Zai. And yeah, Daedalus for Mickey. This is going to be even harder. As the first Tier 4 falls, Mickey and company resetting a bit to get these items in their inventory. But again, Aegis has 2.5 minutes. So much time for this second life.
They can just keep going. Talon here, ooh, good Hex.
Yeah, disruption is there. Nisha, get us off the Rolling Thunder. 23 Savage is going to get stunned eventually. He's there. The Echo Stomp going to connect. They're going to be able to take out Makoto immediately. No way to get back into the game. Stone Gaze doesn't matter. GG's called. And Liquid, in very sudden fashion, just win this game, number 1.
This is what I love about Pro Dota and Tier 1 teams. You pick this Medusa early, it gets countered. Instead of shelving it somewhere else, you pick heroes that will enable it to still win the game, because they played these timings really damn well. I do think Talon were in a good spot, but definitely messing up 1 or 2 fights there in their defense.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, I mean, you just said it. I'm going to repeat exactly what you just said. The fact that you can first 2 pick Medusa, they pick all these counters and still win, that is, I mean, first it was ballsy to do that.
Yes.
And to actually execute successfully, pretty damn impressive. And Talon going to have to rethink their strategy. I mean, the game was really close throughout. And it just feels like 2 or 3 fights in a row where like 23 Savage or somebody just can't initiate properly, they get bursted, and that's the fight.
I would say it's slightly easier for Liquid to fight at that point, but if you're Talon, I would say going into the next game, what they will have to focus on is when we have our timings, how do we actually want to fight? Like, when is our actual timing? Do we need to smoke around? What do we need to do? Because these two teams, I mean, obviously they know how to play Dota, but Liquid, they showed up in this game.
Yeah, Nisha ends the game 7 with 7 kills and absolutely owned on that Pangolier, as I believe the panel is ready to break down this sudden end to game number 1.
A sudden and swift end to game 1 puts Team Liquid in the driver's seat for this lower bracket final. We wind up in a situation where, although Talon Esports were trying to play very fast, very aggressive in the early game, unfortunately here, as is often your prediction, Monkey King unable to carry the game in the end.
Yeah, well, the Monkey King was a hard pick at that point. Like, I'm not sure what they could have done outside of just stomping all 3 lanes, which I think is what Talon really relied on in this particular game. Because if you look at the lineup, I said a bit in the pre-show here that they have such a good lineup for protecting a Medusa and playing around a Medusa, where Talon, I think the mistake kind of happened around the Wind Ranger mid into the Shadow Demon. They're really putting all their eggs in one basket here, trying to shut down this Medusa, and they forgot to check the other boxes that a good draft needs, and they just didn't have the team fight. They didn't have a lot of things that you would need. All you have to do is like try and all in the Medusa here, but this Medusa has lots of stuns to back it up, as we saw Boxy, Nisha, and Zai both protecting this Medusa throughout these team fights.
Yep, and Purge, one of the issues that we saw in this game for Talon Esports, although the anti-mage could deal with her a little bit in the laning phase, throughout the game, didn't really feel like you could feel Jabs' impact on the entirety of the game.
Yeah, it's harder when the enemy team groups up as 5 is basically what happened. I mean, Team Liquid did a great job avoiding ganks on their Beastmaster early. Elder Titan died for one of those ganks. And then they just did this like death ball thing with all 5. So yeah, if Jabs is on top of Medusa and hitting her when she's stunned, it's a great opportunity to burst her. But if the whole team is there, there's more consequences to that. And we saw that 2 clips ago where he jumps in with BKB. That's just not a good target then.
The balls in Team Liquid, man, they first phase Medusa, there's anti-mage response, there's Shadow Demon response. They still played as position 1. We gotta give them credit for that, because I think a lot of the teams would just crumble under this pressure, because in the last 3, 4, 5 months, this has been, you know, a pretty bad matchup for Medusa. And one thing I really liked about this is Meke, he really stepped it up as Medusa. He bought second item Butterfly, which gave him evasion, then your Monkey King Anti-Mage. You know that these right clicks, they're not going to get through. So this is a big item timing. Then he had Dragonlance as well, had Crystallis, understands the matchup, doesn't want to build a bigger mana pool, instead just wants to have damage and the big timing go together, use this Beastmaster aura, use ET aura, and just finish the game from there.
And the cool thing about the Dragonlance, he just wanted to stand as far away from the towers as possible. That way, when they were 5-man deathballing and pushing towers, that little extra distance, it makes it even harder for Talon to team fight.
One of the things we saw as well is that this Medusa, she was picked second pick. Normally she is picked when you have first pick, you can protect her on the 8. In a way here, Fear, do you think they maybe got debated on the side of Talon into over-focusing on countering the Medusa?
Yeah, I think that's basically what this draft was. Makoto, he went all in. They went for the Shadow Demon, also all in. And then the Anti-Mage, and they just ended up with a lineup that wasn't well-rounded. And this can work. You just got to win all 3 lanes. But we saw once you group up with the auras, play around the Medusa, it doesn't really matter. You hit that butterfly timing, and the game is just way too hard. And Medusa now being bumped up all the way up into the first phase, not on that 8 pick, but when on second pick teams are picking it. I don't remember the last time Medusa has lost a match in this playoffs, if it even has happened. So it's getting scarier and scarier. Is this hero just going to get first pick now after a game like this? So like, it's getting pretty crazy.
Yeah, I believe so. I think we might see a situation where team just like straight up first. If they have first pick, they take Medusa, and that's it. Because I don't know, like we've seen these late game carries getting prioritized in the first phase, sometimes waiting until you have the 8th pick. But after seeing how things played out so far at Riyadh Masters, I would not be too surprised. And one thing that Blitz said in the pre-game interview, like after the draft just started, like you have to risk it to make it big. And they kind of risked it here and they made it.
Yeah, it's always cool to see that risk happen in the best of 3, because it completely changes how the day goes. Imagine if they get ganked like 1 or 2 more times in that safe lane when they dove the tower. Medusa gets behind, the Medusa starts getting solo killed. The day's different, you know, that strategy's gone, and Team Liquid's like, all right, we got to do our second best strategy. But now the fact that they won with it, on the other side, Talon's like, do we have to now first phase ban Medusa? Do we have to try to do this ourselves? It's a really spooky situation to be in down like this.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, the only game that Medusa's won in the playoffs so far was when Astro played against 9 Pandas. That was it.
Damn. That's
One game.
Only one game lost in the entire playoffs. Well, it looks like Medusa is going to be the carry hero of the entirety of the playoffs, certainly of game one here in the lower bracket final. And of course, that does mean that the STC play will belong to Team Liquid. Let's take a look. This is the engagement that really did solidify the fact that Team Liquid would end up winning the game. This is around the Roshan pit. If they can win this fight, Purge, maybe you can mount this comeback, but it's a little bit too hard. Their team fight tools aren't there in the same way Team Liquid has.
Yeah, but they defended the anti-mage really effectively. That part was nice, and then after his BKB gets popped, it's kind of like, oh, these three heroes are wailing on me, and there's not much solution, so he has to disengage. Boxy plays an incredible fight. Keep an eye on the line there. Already was useful against Jabs, now useful to help kill the Monkey King. Just playing the outskirts of the fight, ready to go. Pengler had Defiant Shell here. As a result, very, very tanky, more armor than normal, which basically just means that at this point, Team Liquid gets to pick up the stragglers once they're down a carry.
What a blink.
And then Boxy finds them too.
Yeah, Boxy, what a player. Honestly, one of the things we've seen in comment here, the more we've gone into this playoff run, Lacoste, hasn't just been this Medusa looking very strong, but Lion, my goodness, what a hero in the 4th position.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we've seen a lot of openers coming out from like different teams in the upper bracket where they're like, you know, Lion +1, Lion Beastmaster, Lion Darkseer. It feels really good. And I don't think we've seen it throughout this game, but level 15 talent on Lion where he gives mana to Medusa, probably something that they like looked into as well, but we haven't seen it being like really used, but something to have at the back of your head, just to have that a little bit of oomph.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about that line as well, it was really good against the Shadow Team too, because you make 2 illusions of Medusa hard to kill. Line gets the shard, kills both of them right away, so even made their 5-man even stronger.
Yep. One of the things we have seen in the tournament in the playoff bracket has been that when you have first pick, you have some strong carry hero on your 8. This time around, Jav went for the anti-mage Purge. Could they have done better if, let's say, they'd gone for the 23 Savage Terrorblade, for example, something that could help them fight and have a good lane with that Underlord, with that Undying?
I mean, it kind of helps them fight, but it's not the best fighting carry if you have an anti-mage offlane and a carry Terrorblade. Terrorblade basically has to go sit around and hit creeps for a while before he gets maybe Scotty timing or something. I think it would have been just a little bit too dangerous. Like, I don't think they would have had enough tempo, and I just think I don't think it would have been that safe.
Well, game one is not necessarily a very safe game for Talon Esports, and they find themselves on the back foot, hoping to try and recover the series against Team Liquid. The upper bracket matchup did end up going the distance, so they have some pretty good options. They definitely know they have what it takes to take Team Liquid all the way to the 3rd game. Before we get there, though, we do have an audience sitting around enjoying this lower bracket final. To that end, let's hear from them and how they're enjoying this matchup with Jenkins on the ground.
That was awesome, guys. Thank you. I'm here with some Talon fans. Hello. Who are you?
I'm Ian from the Philippines.
And you?
I'm Russell.
Where are you from?
I'm from Philippines.
Hell yeah, there's a lot of Filipino fans here supporting, actually a lot of them supporting Liquid, but a lot of them supporting Talon as well. And we're going to play a game. It's actually not a game, it's very serious. We're going to do some therapy, or sort of couples therapy sort of situation, because I think Talon, I think there's some PTSD situation coming on here because of what happened last time, and because they just. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna keep going. You guys are the therapists, and I'm gonna be Talon, and you tell me what you would say to try to get me to calm down and relax after that game. Okay, you guys good for this?
Yeah, it's good.
Good. Okay. We picked 4 counters to Medusa. 4 counters, and it didn't do anything. What am I supposed to do? I feel like I'm losing control of my life.
I think you just had to ban Medusa the next game. That's it.
So you're saying it's my fault. I need to ban Medusa. I shouldn't have let it through.
Yeah, you just ban it. That's the only solution to that.
If we can't beat Liquid when we are throning them, if we can't beat Liquid when we have 4 counters to Medusa, how are we going to beat these guys? They're the bane of our existence, man.
No, actually, not every time that the plan is, not happening according to our plan. But since we have next game, I think we can come back.
Very good.
We just need to think positive on any negativities happen in our life.
All right, that's a good therapy line. That was a good one. All right. That maybe a little more PMA. Okay. We're going to go some final PMA stuff here. I need a battle cry for Talon to hype them up to win game 2. A therapy battle cry that will remove all that PTSD right out of their systems.
Let's go, Talon!
Let's go, Talon.
Let's go, Talon. Let's see a game 3, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the panel.
Even if you're not a fan of Talon Esports, we certainly would like a game 3 out of them so that this lower bracket final is as hyped as humanly possible. Second game played by Mickey on his Medusa, thus far undefeated at the Riyadh Masters. We need an answer. Is the answer potentially banning it out, Lacoste?
Potentially. We don't know who's going to have the first pick in this one, but I would not be surprised if Talon does have first pick and they just snap pick the hero immediately. Because this seems to be the hero of the tournament, nerfed, by the way. 4 or 5 times in a row, still in a pretty good spot, I would say.
The top carries did get nerfed as well, so it was like Medusa was like good before, then the Morphling was like outrageous, and now Medusa's again kind of top carries what it feels like. And it also just feels so good in like the ultra late game. It just takes a lot to deal with her. Her rapier team fights are just better, and we see so many late games because of the nature of the tournament where teams are less likely to like all in earlier, and it's just the best late game carry, it feels like.
Yep. I think like a few years back, like even through Dota history, when you had like Spectre, Anti-Mage on the enemy team, just by playing against these two heroes, it always felt like you're a bit on a timer. Like it feels like if it goes to the late game, there's something in the back of your head where it says, you know, we're gonna lose this late game if it comes down to that. Like this 50, 60-minute games, you know that these carry heroes, like Faceless Void, definitely up there at this tournament as well. So maybe try to look to get that Faceless Void online.
Yep. One of the things I'm a big fan of here is how teams play with experience, right? Talon Esports, of course, the most experienced team with playing crazy late game situations. Liquid didn't let them get there, but Liquid also extremely experienced in these lower bracket final scenarios. So Talon Esports, what should they do to try and make Liquid uncomfortable in this high pressure scenario?
Well, it's going to be difficult for them to do that because I think Liquid, as you mentioned, they've been in this situation a lot, and they're normally the ones emerging victorious from this situation where Talon have yet to get into the grand finals like this. So what can they do to make Liquid uncomfortable? That's a hard question to ask. I think what they're mainly going to have to focus on is just like getting their drafts right. I think they kind of got outsmarted in this one. I think them Nisha picking up that Pango right out of the phase there while banning the Snapfire really put them in a situation. They realized if you play this off-lane anti-mage, your mid needs to be some type of team fight, and they couldn't get that into the draft with a limited hero pool.
Well, we're going to see if Talon Esports has what it takes to create a situation that's favorable for them as we enter our second draft of the lower bracket fight. Game 2, Team Liquid versus Talon Esports. We are not going to be having any change up in the side order or the pick order purge, so a run back, but Talon doing the right thing. Medusa, get that hero out of here. Not going to see her in Game 2.
And that's the other hero that I actually thought was a big problem last game. It was the Beastmaster. He was able to go a boar-heavy build last game because he was against Monkey King. He needs to slow him when he's being attacked. Normally, you max axes, you clear stacks, that kind of build. But the fact that he was able to go boar, max out his aura earlier, just meant that he made the Medusa even stronger last game. So if I ran it back, I'd be like, probably ban Beast second phase.
5 bans on Azai's heroes in Game 1, Lacoste, and it still didn't help. He still gets to have an S-tier performance. Is it even worth banning out his heroes at this point?
I don't know. I think you just might need to protect some of the heroes. I think coming into the draft, you shouldn't be thinking too much of Azai because like he's going to have a good game no matter what. It definitely feels like it. He's going to find something in the bin. You know, he's going to bang out some of the hero that no one has played out yet and be godlike with it. So it's very hard for you to just focus on Zai, but this also leaves, like, I think Lion plus, again, Darkshire is going to be highly contested in this first phase. Of course, Undying, it is up there. Dirge, always a guy to look out for.
Let's see what Talon do. If they do go for this Undying, we haven't actually seen Darkseer in the last couple of days, have we?
It's getting banned a lot. Last game was banned first phase, but it's in the pool this game, so we'll see if the team picks up.
Second best hero against Dusa, so it makes sense they're going to ban the first phase. Kind of nice that they could just put it under the radar, like, oh, we're just banning Darkseer in the first phase. No big reason.
I mean, it's also because, like, as I talked about before, I think if you think about it, Liquid was really methodical on how they did that. They really limited the team fights that could come from potential lanes, like no Darkseer, big team fighter against Dusa, Snapfire, no team fighter, and then the Pango, which is also good against the Dusa, they picked right away. But we're going to have a completely different draft here as Talon will get their Storm Spirit first pick, just straight up.
Yeah.
See what counters you can bring out if you're Team Liquid.
This makes sense to me, Lacoste, because in the last game, they banned Storm Spirit in the first phase. This time around, they pick it to make sure they don't give it to Liquid. But like you say, Darkseer Lion comes out. Which do you feel better about right now?
I don't know. I just like Darkshire Lion. It's not like the best pairing in the lane. It's not your Earth Spirit Clockwork that goes in and uses that Ion Shell, but it's a really strong lane, and it does shut down Because Darkseer's anti-carry hero, Lion's anti-mid hero, pretty much.
Yeah,
so
I
you have all the bases covered.
I can give a little more insight on this and how these teams are thinking right now. They're trying to limit that hero pick coming out. Like, if you pick Darkseer right away, it's stopping the Naga, it's stopping the Terrorblade right away too. A lot of these heroes had Savage will pick there, and they're forcing them into a Faceless Void, but then they already have the Lion, which is good against the Faceless Void, already prepped up. Because Liquid knows exactly, that's how you play second pick now. You have to take these risks. Like, we know what you're going to pick, we're going to preemptively counter it. Are you still going to do it? Most likely, because you got this far doing these strategies.
This Lion feels like it's actually extra premium here, Purge, against the Faceless Void and the Storm Spirit. If I'm Team Liquid, if I'm Boxy right now, I'm just smiling to high heaven.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely really helps. With that said, Void is pretty good against Darkseer in the lane. It's not as easy to get that kill. You can pressure him a little bit, but he has some heal offsets, so it's still a great opening for Liquid for sure, especially how Boxy played last game.
Looking at, like, if they need more control from the mid lane, it's also a good Meepo game for now. I see Faceless Void, I see Storm Spirit. You can easily run at them. Not sure if that's...
play it?
Yeah, I mean, there was one game, I believe, where Nisha played it.
Meepo, okay.
Dragonite as well, a hero that Team Liquid loves to run because you need a lot of damage. A lot of the times you need to bring that third hero to kill Dragonite, especially if Dragonite is being played from the mid lane. Not too bad of a matchup against Storm Spirit. Faceless Void always, you know, will go for different targets, so should be looking good for Liquid. On side of Liquid, they banned out Keeper of the Light, also one of the better heroes throughout the tournament, has so many good combos. Mana Battery for Storm Spirit, we've seen like Io. Io's not play, Talon does not play Io, and Pugna is kind of dead now, so that makes a lot of sense.
I really want to see Liquid ban the Elder Titan here.
Yeah.
Just ban out these team fight supports. It feels like Talon, when they don't get them, they don't nearly look as good, and especially in a game like this. Sure, these two heroes by themselves individually have been having good games, the Faceless Void and the Storm Spirit, but when you put them together as your first two picks, they suffer the same weaknesses, like some puck or something, leashes, stuns, disables are quite potent against both these heroes, so you're going to see Liquid come out with a lot of heroes that have very high lockdown.
I like when Oli supports them with the silencer, like Faceless Void when he goes in, Storm Spirit as well. It does allow your Storm Spirit to have a little bit of a free reign in a team fight because you'll always have something to back him up. And overall, really good hero against Lion. Like, Lion can't really itemize until the later stages of the game, maybe get some like BKB, some A on this, whatever, to be more survivable.
And the other supports they're maybe thinking of on the Talon side would be Rubik and Tiny. That basically rounds out their staple supports that they go for every game, and Liquid will ban one more here before they're forced to pick.
The other one I'm looking into is Enchantress because of the spell mechanic. A strong laner could secure the lane for Faceless Void, and again, you're laning into Darkseer. Even though teams don't seem to care too much about it, it's still a good counter.
That's a good point. They actually did pick Enchantress out of the first phase against Quest when they played Darkseer, so...
Yeah. I mean, I just want to take a minute to appreciate Liquid a little bit and how they've been drafting, because we've been here for a long time. We've been watching a lot of drafts. We've been watching how first pick has just been clowning all over second pick. But what Liquid has been bringing to the table coming into this series, they found a way, in my opinion, to make second pick look pretty good. They're putting Talon in an uncomfortable positioning here just by reading the meta ahead of time. And I feel like no other team has been able to do this thus far in the tournament.
And they did this in game one. They stole Pango immediately out of the first phase in the second pick, and now they took the Enchantress, so they really utilized this second pick.
We're going to get some burst damage into this bubble, as well as one of the most successful heroes at the tournament, Legion Commander, emerges. 25 games, 72% win rate. Looking pretty solid in general.
Can I cope here a little bit?
Of course.
I want Mickey to, you see on Team Liquid, channel his inner Matumba man and pick Lone Druid. This is the best Lone Druid game I have ever seen with my own two eyes. It is so good, but the hero nobody really wants to play. You're playing for Storm, Void, Legion, Sky. It is hard counter in all four of them. I don't know if he will pick it. There might be better options out there. Maybe the hero's just not good enough, but
I'd
be a big fanboy if they did it.
That's a cool idea for sure.
0 wins, 2 games. And sadly, the teams that have played it are already eliminated from the tournament. It would be good, though. It would be fun. Nice to see new heroes in the playoffs.
I just look at this and I'm like, Dragonite, man, this hero doesn't die here because it's a flex pick for Liquid as well. I do like the Talon picked up some damage that they have inside Chronosphere, so that's going to be Skyreth Mage, another pairing with the Legion Commander, overall like strong lane, so you'll have always a burst potential. And there's no saves on side of Liquid, so whoever gets caught during the duel, whoever gets caught... oh man, you got it.
TI winner getting the prediction there. So
maybe they heard me. No, just kidding.
All right, so talk to us about this, right? What makes it such a good Lone Druid game?
Well, first of all, Lone Druid is really good versus high mobility heroes because when you root them, that is what they're looking for, right? So it's very good in Storm against the lane. I actually think Nisha might play this because it is good versus Storm. He's very tanky, hard to kill in a Chronosphere. Skywrath, what do you do to him? Like, you try to silence his main hero, he just hits you with the bear, he full heals right away, you die in a couple hits. You get dueled, same situation. The bear is continuously healing you. It is just hard counters all four of these heroes right now.
Yeah, when you transform, you get like 33% magic resistance to your hero, and you get a crap load of HP. So basically, any magic nuker is not happy trying to burst you.
Right.
And then against physical damage heroes, you wait till 25 minutes, you buy 4 Wraith Bands, and you're like, okay, now I just have 40 armor. So if you are tanky against the heroes they're dealing with, if they don't have pure damage or something like that, then yeah, you're just very difficult to kill.
Yeah, and you're just going to always place your bear in a situation where your bear and your hero shouldn't get chronoed. So even if your real hero gets chronoed, as long as your bear is hitting something, you're just life-stealing throughout the entire chrono duration.
Yeah, looks really good for Lone Druid, and they're looking for position 5 on side of Talon. So that's... I don't know if that pick can fix it. Maybe, you know, some Witch Doctor against Lone Druid. Yeah, that doctor.
Oh, okay. Haven't seen him in a while since Solo.
It looked kind of fine as like some Undying substitute with like blood grenades and winning the lane kind of, but it could work decent against the Darkseer for sure. Keep the Void fully healed. Don't get him kicked out of his lane as fast.
So Talon Esports, of course, have to pick first out of this phase here. What do they need to do to still recover their draft here, given what they have? Something that'll deal with both Lone Druid and scale with the rest of the team.
I mean, they've picked all 3 cores. There's no support. I mean, you did mention the Witch Doctor. It is pretty annoying for the Lone Druid, but it's not the same matchup as before where it's unplayable. I don't think there's any support that just deals with Lone Druid. It mainly comes from cores.
Maybe, with like Disarm, the good in lane against Darkseer.
I mean, since they added the Shard, like, you just save your Savage Ore, you take off the Disarm right away, so, like, I'm not super threatened by that. The most annoying thing for Lone Druid are things that kite the bear. So like, you can think of things like Winter Wyvern, but no, not really. I guess it just has to be Witch Doctor as an annoying support. It is an old counter as well with Faceless Void. I guess AA was another one where you can actually just chrono the real hero, make sure he doesn't get the lifesteal, and you can actually potentially burst him. So that could have worked. But outside of that, not many.
What if they go like Enigma 5 or something like that? Could that work for Talon? Yeah, I mean, you got
it's fine as long as the lane is okay against the Darkseer. But once again, I still don't think... This is why I said it's a perfect Lone Druid game. I don't think there's any support that's going to be like, wow, this Lone Druid pick sucks now. But they're going to ban supports anyway, because that's what you need on Talon, right? So they're going to ban something that's good against it. I think the Witch Doctor makes sense. The AA, I think, was the one that, you know, you have a Faceless Void. It always makes sense to ban that hero.
Of the heroes left that we have for the 5 position of Talon, Silence has just been removed. ET is not in the pool anymore. It's only really Enigma and Rubik that have been played by Ollie that are still in the pool right now. Neither of them feel amazing, but I guess Enigma, like Perch saying, is probably one of the better ones.
I think he might need to play something different. I did mention Oracle Witch Doctor, just to have something at least against the Lone Druid, because other heroes he's not really afraid of. Maybe I'm not seeing that hero, but looking at 4 versus 4 right now, I do like what Team Liquid drafted, and they're going to have the last pick. So far, Team Liquid, they have utilized this last pick pretty damn good.
Okay, they're just going to give Storm more mana.
Yeah.
We saw... who was the other mana giver? Caudle got banned second phase, so similar vein. Can work decently well with Legion Commander as well, so it's got some options. They can save people if they really need to, but it's not the most ideal support.
Man, Dragonite, again, for me, it looks juicy.
I mean, most people aren't a fan of this hero. I'm not a fan of this hero in general, but I would just whip out an Ursa or something here. Try to play a bit more high tempo. You are good versus most of the cores. I think just whatever you pick here, since I'm assuming this is going to be a mid Lone Druid, since I know, I mean, I'm using body language on this one. I saw Nisha smile, then they picked Lone Druid. So I think that was just like, oh, Nisha, you want to play drone? He smiled, yeah, give me Lone Druid. Yeah. He pulled this out in the Bali Grand Finals. Fortunately, didn't win with it, but it is a hero I know he knows how to play. You just need to be able to survive the Sky plus Legion lane, which is going to be very difficult. And I don't know if Ursa's actually going to survive that. And he doesn't need to carry the game. Kind of at a loss, to be honest with you, like what you're going to pick to combat this powerful of a lane. But it's going to be something like that.
Well, it makes the most sense that Nisha would be playing this because Mike only has 1 professional game on Lone Druid. Nisha, though, is 6-1 on the hero, so kind of makes sense here. And then we pivot back to the Drow Ranger here for Mike. He's 1-2 at this tournament on the hero. Purge, when you see this, I am terrified of this Team Liquid lineup. They can actually end the game really damn fast.
It's pretty scary, but if you get to initiate on the Talon side, you have great jump between Legion Commander and Void and Storm and Relocate. So all you got to do to kill Drow, get on top of her and kill her. They don't have very good saves on the other side. So if Team Liquid is ahead and they're like slapping towers with the Bear and the Drow Ranger, yeah, it's going to be tough for Talon. But if they can get vision and initiations and burst like a hero 2 at the start of the fight, they should be able to also win engagements.
I think it comes down to whoever gets the first jump in this one, because Talon, they have really good heroes to do so, and there's not a single hero on side of Liquid that has any kind of save potential, so that's going to be a difficult one. Like, you get caught during the duel, doing the Chronosphere. I think this game is going to be much more even.
Fia, what do you think?
I mean, I'm definitely going to be super biased towards Lone Druid right now because I love the hero. However, they did pick it in Bali, and I thought they'd lose with it. This is a much better game for it, and I think the Drow's a good pick too. They can lane with an Enchantress, maybe pressure. If they can group up on Team Liquid like they did last game, I think their lineup is pretty unstoppable.
All right, put your bodies on the line, put your reputations on the line. Purge, who's winning game 2?
I feel like Team Liquid's just way stronger in the series.
Yeah, I'll go with Liquid as well.
Liquid.
Why are y'all doing this to me? Every single time my panels come through with a clean sweep of opinions, I think it's only happened once that team actually ends up winning. So for all of you at home, almost guaranteed that Talon Esports are going to end up taking away game 2 in this situation and finding ourselves in a game 3 decider. They do have some new heroes. They haven't played Io a single time at this tournament. They very rarely played the Legion Commander, even though that hero is quite successful. However, back in the day, when 23 Savage was making a name for himself, it was Faceless, Void, and Spectre, and Morphling. These 3 heroes were what he was able to dazzle us all with. He was spectacular on all of these heroes. So if there's ever going to be a game for him to whip it out and win, it's going to be here in the lower bracket final. Before we get into it, though, let's find out how Sunbi, the coach of Talon Esports, feels about this draft and if he thinks they're going to get a game 3 decider against Team Liquid.
Hey, Sunbi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. You guys, game 1, you picked 4 Medusa counters. You let it through, which you guys tend to do. You let the good things through, and then you counter it. You banned it this time. Was your take on game 1, Medusa's just too OP, let's just not try to deal with it?
I don't know. We didn't have a whole lot of time to think. I think they're very good with it. We can just play a different draft and see how that goes, yeah.
Okay, and the first 2 picks, you picked 2 cores. Kind of unusual. Is this something that's like 5-head strategies going on against Team Liquid, or would you do this in another series?
I think we've done it yesterday too, didn't we? I don't know. I can hardly remember. But, I mean, we like the good heroes. You know, we just pick it. People feel confident. Play the game, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see if confidence is what matters in this game with our 2 confident casters, Kezu and Sunsfan.
Thank you very much. Game number 2 underway between Liquid and Talon, and we have some juicy picks to talk about. My goodness. After a very, I want to call it a weird game number 1, it was extremely slow, very much not the case for the rest of the games that we've seen in this tournament, so kind of an aberration of sorts. This time, I think we're going to see a lot of action as... Let's talk about the bounty rune situation as per norm. Jabs, gets stunned, gets off the overwhelming odds, trying to take out Insania, but he's the one surrounded, and he's the one that will be eventually brought down. Pops a Fairy Fire, but the first blood will still go to Insania in the end.
Tried giving it to Miko. I think he missed on the high ground, as Insania will end up taking this first blood. We saw this yesterday from them as well, where they have this Darkseer. They leave Zai for like the first 30 seconds alone. Foxy helps his team to eventually get this first blood, but we've got ourselves a Liquid Lone Druid that fear darkness. He called it.
Fear is actually a god.
He's a god.
That was, I mean, it's been picked twice in this tournament, so basically not at all. 0-2. I don't think Liquid's picked it yet, though. Yeah. What do you think of the Lone Druid in this game?
It's a pretty good pick, and it's one of the timings that if you're Liquid, you've got to be looking for it. Lone Druid does well in the mid lane against Storm, and you also have Lion and Ench who can easily collapse there. So for Talon, in order to keep their early game intact, they're going to have to look at Mikoto to do well on the lane and then also help him defend like this first big move from Liquid.
And how does this matchup go? The Lone Druid versus Storm.
I may have said it 10 seconds ago, but it is Lone Druid favored.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Slightly. Or I would say like some 60-40, maybe even 65-35. But the most important or the scary part is that Liquid have the playability to even help him after he wins the lane.
And how does that mid lane go for Storm Spirit? All right, just, you know, it's all good. It's all good. Kezu, okay, vacuum into the Impale. Ollie hexed and brought down by Zai. So, good start for Liquid early on. As 23 Savage will be playing the Faceless Void this time. His initiations are going to need to be on point for sure.
Yep.
Cannot have some of the mistakes that we saw from last game.
Level 2 timing abuse here from Liquid. One thing that could happen this game for Talon is like maybe you get some pressure down here, you bring your IO bottom and you do try to tower dive like Mickey or Insania early on. I think that's one punch back for them in this game around. I would say like how Talon adapted, just take out the Medusa, take out the Beastmaster, because at this stage in the tournament you just want to try to make it easier for yourself. But this early game, I would say again, Liquid, they've got the tempo.
And Talon side, they do have a lot of burst damage though. Once jabs can get, I mean, we've seen a few Legion Commander games this tournament, and it's been banned a lot more than I thought it was going to be, in fact. But you have the old duel into Mystic Flare eventually that will delete just about anybody, not named Lone Druid, as long as he's in his true form.
It's a lot of pressure from this bottom lane. Like, Drow Ranger does fare pretty damn good against Legion in the lane. You've got this double range, which is just annoying, because LC, it's a very snowball-heavy hero by nature. You want to do well in your lane, keep kind of going forward, try to slowly take the tier 1.
And what do you think of the IO pick this game? It's not, I mean, there's obviously the IO Storm to provide mana, but typically there's a carry that makes good use of it. I would say Faceless Void is not exactly the prototypical combo.
Honestly, I think it was hard for them to pick a support at that point. There were like 5 or 6 supports banned at the time, so I think IO was probably one of their better picks. It could allow them to help you play the map, but most importantly, if you like get a little bit of tempo on Makoto or jabs, you can try to play through that. Like, they need to find some early timings later with the IO to just tether through and help a core.
And Liquid's push, just in general, looks insanely good once it gets online, especially with this Drow, which I think took you off guard in terms of it being picked. What do you think about that hero in this game?
I mean, it's more that they're going to have to be playing on timings and I think helping your team out, because overall they have a lot of jump on Talon later if they get there. Like if the game is even as Boxy with a TP here to go against Makoto.
Yeah, we'll get the Impale. Rune is secure from Makoto.
Wow.
Will it cost him his life though? Insania. One impetus does not miss. Down goes Makoto. That is a huge kill for Liquid. And for Nisha in that mid lane is cute. Getting slowed down. Multi-shot is there from Mickey to finish him off, and now jabs.
Careful.
He's surrounded by 2 heroes from Liquid, along with a Centaur that cannot be underestimated. Jabs attempting to TP out. Do they have the damage? Oh, very close call. Will get out. That would have been atrocious. Actually goes to the tier 1, so
that's still
gonna need some major regen.
That's still very costly for him as he has to expand his TP tangles and salve. So pretty much 300 gold in order to get out there. But Boxy, he's just been doing a lot of good work in some of these games. The first blood early, the heads-up TP against Makoto, now going mid and also de-warding this mid-high ground ward, applying even more pressure on this Makoto Storm. And he's already losing this matchup.
Yeah, Nisha, level 5, so level advantage on the side of Liquid in the mid lane. You can see Boxy in the trees looking for a potential opening before Makoto hits level 6. He's not even remotely close because he just hits level 5 there. The fact that he's here this early, 1 minute before the power room.
Yeah. I mean, this, I've said it before, but Boxy is giving me major Jarex vibes from how he's moving in the early game. He's so free, he's always in the right place at the right time, and they know where to play through. They de-warded the mid ward, they've got their own lane ward beyond the tier 1 now. And Zai is pretty much A-okay this 1v2 top. Like, it's just a Faceless Void IO, not the most pressure. Insania down bottom.
Does take quite a bit of damage. Jabs not in the area to be able to get off the overwhelming odds. Boxy there with a beautiful Impale onto 2. Q is dead, and Jabs likely will be next. Oh, he's going to get linked up by Ollie, though, making his transition over through that gate, but it's still too much damage as Mickey will secure another kill, and now the Impale onto Ollie. Things are just falling apart early game here for Talon, and another kill will go the way of Liquid. Double kill for Mickey. My goodness, I was not expecting a start this good for the Liquid side.
But this is some open AI gameplay currently. You leave your Zai up top, who now has a Vanguard, so he's A-okay. There's going to be a lot more pressure coming through now from both your safe lane and the mid lane. It's Nisha, level 6, Shield Rune. We've got the Bear with high level, so Mikoto's tower probably going to get slowly whittled away, but perhaps they will look to play through him. I mean, Mikoto did a good job. The fact that he did get level 6 at an equal timing is very big for Talon.
Dire's top tower is under
Highest
attack.
amount of assists at 6 minutes.
I mean, he's been everywhere.
He has.
Been top, mid, bottom, bottom again, mid again, bottom again, now back to top.
Zai getting free farm despite there being 2 members of Talon here. They're not really able to do much. Boxy will likely just sit for that Wisdom Rune to make sure that there's no stealing shenanigans. That's one way that Talon could try to get back in this game, but we can see on the minimap they're not really making their way over there at all.
Talon need minute 10, I think. Like, you need more levels. Like, you're gonna need some Skyref ult come out, which is generally gonna be like minute 9, minute 10. So the Wisdom Rune is definitely important. And this is why Lone Druid is so annoying against Storm. You can't really gank the Lone that easily, and if you ever leave the lane of Storm, your tower just gets chopped down.
Yeah, we're seeing that right now. Already at half HP for that tier 1. Okay, what's the itemization from Lone Druid in these days? Like Mask of Madness, something like that on the Bear?
It's just Mom Desolator, right? I think you just Mom Deso, you pace up the game.
Then AC or something like that?
Something like that, just sounds good to me.
Basher, of course. Classic.
Yeah.
Makoto is level 6 now. We can see Boxy.
Dire's middle tower.
Good D1 by
Relatively
Talon.
close by to try to get off an Impale or Hex.
I mean, they can just take this tower without any commit.
Yeah.
Radiant are
Just the
scanning.
Bear and a Tomato working together to damage this tower. Even Zai makes his way over, so maybe trying to force a lot of mana
Makoto?
usage on this Storm to get away, and Zai coming in from the backstab situation.
Good
Makoto
silence.
zips to the other side. All he's going to
23
connect as well.
is here.
23 Savage with an early chrono onto 3. Do they have the damage to take out Zai? There's a back wall to follow, though. They do lose their Darkseer, and Talon able to disengage. So Liquid losing a valuable member. They will likely get the tier 1 anyway, but not exactly the way that they drew that up.
Good rotation from 23 and Talon there. You were going to lose this tower, so getting a Chrono out and getting like a turn kill on Zai, which honestly I thought it was going to be way harder for them to kill him. So good kind of punchback, but still got a laning issue here. This Liquid Mickey Drow Ranger. He's just pumping all these arrows into jabs.
All right, I think the question that everyone is wondering in chat right now, is this a good Glacier game?
Yes.
Okay.
You will see it, of course, with the Tormentor being taken.
Well,
That's funny.
You need like 4 Tormentors to get that, I think. And Insania now making his way to the top lane, along with Mickey.
Dire's courier has been
You see
killed.
23 Savage forced out completely. Not quite finished with his Mask of Madness yet.
No TP yet, as Liquid, very similar to game 1. They're going to be the ones to pace up the game here, and Talon don't really have any way of stopping them. Their D push is non-existent. Like, Legion Commander doesn't have a long-range Q anymore, it's only around yourself, so what is really going to be stopping Liquid here to just run down on the map?
Stupendous.
And Zai taking some stacks here. 23 Savage will just have to TP out, so wasting a lot of time. And you're right, in terms of like defensive capability, they don't have a whole lot. I mean, for them, I think the best defense would be offense with the likes of Jabs once he picks up his eventual Blink Dagger.
Yeah, Talon need to play an open map, try to push as many lanes as possible, and look for pickoffs later with Storm Zip into the Mystic Flare, like try and get some kills that way, and play the map with this relocate. Because there is no 5v5 fighting into Liquid. It is not possible. You need to catch him off guard and delay this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's already a 4K lead for Liquid. We're seeing that Jabs actually builds his Blade Mail first, so delaying the Blink Dagger. So that will likely delay any action coming from Talon.
They can still smoke through Mikoto, so him getting this DD rune is very big with the current state of the map. Looks like Liquid want to go down bottom, or at least help Nisha a little bit. So breaking some smokes around the map, while Boxy is going to be able to sap some experience in the mid lane. I could see Talon go for a smoke after Q gets his level 6 here on the Skyref up top.
Yeah, the Mystic Flare is going to be pretty
needed.
vital for them to actually get a kill.
They go without it for now with the DD, but if Nisha just pops R, he will not be dying to these 3 heroes, I think, unless 23 maybe reinforces very early on.
Yeah, Bear right now has Phase Boots, Mask of Madness. As Insania gets
Boxy's
caught by
here.
the Storm, but the instant Hex from Boxy's there into the Impale. Can they get the root? No. Makoto zips away. Now the relocate.
It looks like Ollie will have to pay the price.
Well, he does have a link in jabs, but Boxy is there to counteract it. Impale. And the death for the IO. Now a tier 1 tower will be focused by Liquid and likely taken for free.
Well, next tower on the map as while they're taking the tower, even pushing out 23 from his own triangle. And I guess it ain't his own anymore. Gonna go back up to a 6k gold lead. I mean, the name of the game for Liquid. Take all these outer towers, minute 15, Dire Roche, very likely on the deck. You get the Deso and you go for tier 2s.
Yeah, he's only one Mithril hammer away from that Deso on the Bear. That thing is looking quite scary indeed.
Even
And
if you,
like you said, the Roche can come pretty early as well. Like, they can get every objective, including the Tormentor, if they want. But of course, we know that Liquid do not. So don't ask about the Tormentor again, because stop bringing it up.
I'll bring it up. 5 minutes. That's jab. Yeah, you've just... Okay, so he's got the Blademan to, what, help him farm some of these Ancients? But even if Mickey is just around, if they jump
My
Nisha...
goodness, he can't even take this.
Yeah,
oh,
he's going to have to keep pulling them out and around. Tormentor, not available.
Walking over the corpse of the Tormentor from the last game.
They see Mickey on this ward, but how do you ever make a move? Like, you need... Makoto needs to be smoked with Q at some point if they do find an opening, and then Ollie like comes in with a relocate. Until then, all Talon can do, play an open map and try to get to this late game. Or even just later stages of the game. There's also a pipe going to be coming out on Darkseer, so you cannot fight into this liquid ball.
Yeah, absolutely not. And what exactly, oh man, this blink, it's just, I feel like it's so needed on jabs. He just hasn't been able to find the farm so far this game. He's bottom net worth of all the cores.
Yeah, if he can try to slowly get there, as of course he's, yeah, not really the closest, but as long as the game is staying like this, they're doing okay. But we've seen this in game 1. Game slows down a little bit from like, what, minute 12 to 15. But then you get some of these major items. You get this Deso on the Bear. And this game will ramp up very quickly.
Indeed. Insania getting close to finishing his Force Staff for the eventual Hurricane Pike, which we've talked about this before, but Chronosphere from 23 Savage. There's the Mystic Flare. First of the game, I do believe, relocate a bit late. They lose their Lion from the Liquid side.
Oh, Talon will take that. Like, sure, Chrono's down. Maybe that helps you like be more confident about taking Roche, but Talon, honestly, there's no fighting into them anyway, so you might as well just expand your Chrono to get some of these kills.
Insania. I mean, with Relocate being down, is that... I mean, how big of a spell is that for Liquid to even care about at this point?
I actually think Liquid don't care. Yeah. Like, they know that at this point, Talon can't really find them, as Insania may have overstepped his welcome.
Gonna get stunned up.
Mark of Courage.
Still pretty damn... Every game you have to mention it.
Of course.
I mean, that's one of the values of the Deer. You're super tanky, do a ton of damage. 23 Savage getting forced out again.
This is a bit annoying. Only 3 levels in a time walk, as Nisha will continue to chase perhaps a little bit here. Forced to pop the mask.
Boxy's going to be spotted by Makoto, who doesn't have a whole lot of mana to work with, but will be enough with that Mystic Flare from Q. So able to find a couple kills now onto Boxy, who's been a thorn in their side from the beginning of this game.
Well, Talon doing some good stuff on the map, and also, like, we kept talking about Jabs' Blink earlier. He's getting closer now. As you know, he's just getting to chill bottom all the time. Looks like Boxy wants his team to kind of speed it up, as he's drawing this arrow up to top like 3 to 4 times now. The Deso is about to come out on Nisha as well, and I don't blame him. Talon have no way of fighting you head on.
Yeah. Phylactery on Q, by the way.
More the damage.
Cool. Love that. Makes Ancient Seal do damage and slow.
This could be cool for Talon. They know it's hard to defend the top tier 2, but they're waiting on the mid lane to see if someone will show. But Mickey with some very good patience.
Yeah, one gust onto Mickey could spell doom, but Ollie's there to link him up. Multi-shot.
Gotta get
do a decent amount of damage. There's a relocate coming out. So Makoto will be safe, and this gank not successful from the Talon side. And there's the blink. That is what we've been waiting for Jabs. And I feel like they have to get good value out of this item.
Yep, we've got the Blink Blade Mail, of course with the Mystic Flare follow-up, but they still need to be careful about how you jump in. Like, let's say you jump in a bit too much, there comes the Pipe Aura, some Vacuum Wall, and you just get clamped down by this Deso Bear. Still not the easiest task. They are smoking up though.
Yep, Talon are on the way. I don't think they're gonna make it though, this Bear. That Mask of Madness, maybe they will.
I think they'll make it. And they are
Okay,
quite
though.
low on some of these heroes.
Yep, he goes into the pit as well. It's going to speed it up. 23 Savage had his Chronosphere. This is a really important fight. Insane gets spotted first, though, but there's the Gust on the 23 Savage with the wall as well. 23 Savage gets vacuumed in and dies. And just like that, Talon will have to concede the Roche. Now, Jabs, linked up by Ollie, will be able to get out. So only one kill, but it's probably the most important one that Liquid can find, and that should be a freebie.
Back to pushing lanes here for Talon, as Insania came in for pretty nice and clutch timing on the gate and just finds 23 Savage. There's definitely room for failure there, but it's going to be an easy Roche at the end of it all.
Nisha will take it.
Do you know what line box he just drew?
No.
Bottom into the Tormentor.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. It's 3 minutes away. Aghanim Scepter online for Mickey. So it has that hypothermia, which is really good this game against the Legion Commander, against the IO.
Really good. Yeah.
Lowering all that regen.
Will rebuy his Dragonlance later. Also definitely hoping to pick up a Grove Bow as Philosopher's Stone on Lone Druid. Very happy about that one.
Yep, true.
Probably the only core in the game that benefits as much. Maybe Enigma.
Yeah, no doubt. Remember back in the day when this was the worst Aegis carrier in the game, the Lone Druid. The bear would die with you. No longer, though. It's a separate entity as Insania is spotted out. Gets off his heel.
I think they need Q for this, right?
Now there's a TP coming in the form of boxing. Mickey's here as well. Gust onto just the Storm.
They'll have to look for the reload.
The Impale. Ollie does have his ult available. Uses it a little too late, though, so Makoto just drops casually.
That's going to be a follow kill, and in the meantime, look at the big bad bear.
Yeah, he already took the tier 2. And now we'll be able to poke at the high ground if they want. I'll go for the eventual Tormentor in 2 minutes that will continue to mention for no reason. Impale, Gust, another kill the way of Liquid. They are stomping in game number 2. This is nothing like their last matchup that went 3 games, super epic. It has been all Liquid all day today.
6k building damage at 18 minutes. I mean, he's just going to keep racking up records because what is going to stop him from hitting these towers? He's even got the Drow Aura for his main hero to hit, which it doesn't matter that much, but just adding more insult. Injury to insult. I don't know how this saying goes, but
yep,
you know what
something like that, yeah. You injured your insulter, I think is what you're trying to say. Crimson Guard now up and running. That's going to make it even more difficult for Jabs to get a kill with the duel. I mean, have we seen a duel this game? Literally, has he cast a spell once?
He has not.
And now the tier 3 is starting to get pounded on by Liquid, already at half HP. My goodness, they push so fast. You can see the pings coming out on Mickey. That's who they want to try to kill, but the bear is the real problem. There's the big Chronosphere from 23 Savage with the Mystic Flare, but it's not going to be enough damage. Crimson Guard comes out now, big back wall onto basically everybody from Talon. The Gust to follow. There's the duel onto Mickey. Does he have enough damage? Oh! Yes, with the right click from Makoto, who's now completely out of mana, trying to walk it off, but now the bears, well, it's going to actually completely ignore them. That's what you're supposed to do in the wilderness as well. Ignore the bear, let it hit the buildings instead. In real life, that's usually trash cans. This time around, it's the melee racks, though, much more important. And just like that, Liquid going to get a full set.
I mean, Talon have no more tempo now in their spells. You had to expend all of your spells to... They didn't even cut through any of Liquid at the start against the Pipe and Crimson. Nisha is just going to go for next racks.
That's right. Another tier 3. They're going to back away for a bit. What time is it, Keza?
Torment time.
That's right. It's Tormentor time if they want. Or they could try to get another kill. Makoto doing what he's done so well throughout this tournament, trying to push the lanes, delay, delay, delay. They've had several comebacks because of this tactic. But Liquid, they've done their scouting. They've played against it.
80 seconds on the chrono. Like, your spells are not ready for this. It could be Torment time, or it could be High Ground time.
It's never Torment time for Liquid.
It's High Ground time, baby.
That's right. They got their Pine Cone ready to go to set up with the bear. Very familiar sight for him in the wilderness. And the tier 3 tower is going to drop. And now the second set of racks in peril as Talon trying to backstab with 2 members from behind, but the flank is going to be too late, even if they get several kills.
They're flanking
They've
the
lost
creep
2
wave.
sets of racks. Maybe they're trying to flank their own Tormentor. No. They are just killing the creeps, and now it's Torment time. Liquid looking to steal the most important objective on the map. Who's gonna get the shard? It's worthless! Jesus, of all the shards! God!
He can get a second creep to end the game. It's not actually that bad.
I'm just kidding. It's actually okay.
Okay, it's just fake
It's
hype.
just not. It's just fake. That's my job. Fake hype. Boxing.
Ooh.
Nice impale into the gust. Ollie with his ult though will
On
be
the
able to get him
vacuum.
out. Not in time. It gets canceled. Ollie is dead as well. Oh boy.
In come the little friends. Shard on Nisha now as well. More, just you can get the dispels off, more movement speed, more attack speed. Yeah, I don't know. 23 Savage. Age is expiring soon. 10 seconds. Oop.
Yes.
And now you're dead.
Q getting run down by the bear. He gets, oh, there's the
phylactery
phylactery.
slow,
Will
very
that
cool.
save his life? Absolutely not. He's dead. 15k lead for Liquid, looking for mega creeps. They don't have their Aegis any longer, but considering the amount of damage that they've taken in these fights, I don't think they care. This Lone Druid is untouchable.
Lone Druid is missing. I think they want to try to burst him out.
23 Savage
how
looking
easy that
for
is.
a Sidewinder play with the Chrono, but again, their damage has been lacking. There's initiation from Jabs, the zip in from a
Crimson
on the
Pipe
back line.
heal.
He's going to get controlled. Do they have the damage? No, the more damage onto the Legion than anything. He's dead, buys back instantly, but the Gust onto 23 Savage. He's done as well. No buyback for him, and now the bash onto Makoto. The press the attack is too late. And that is another death for the mid laner of Talon as their hopes and dreams are crumbling in this game number 2. As Liquid look to be taking mega creeps with ease. It's 20-4 for God's sake.
They have too much. You've got all the auras, Drow Ranger, Solar Crest. Nisha's just going to town on these buildings.
Tier 4's only thing remaining for Talon, along with these other worthless buildings. As GG's come out, Talon eliminated, and Liquid will get a rematch against Team Spirit, but this time it'll be in a best-of-5 grand finals.
Wow, Liquid really showing up today. They just want this rematch against Spirit, as this game there was no chance for Talon at all.
Credit to Fear for picking Lone Druid for Liquid.
Well played, Fear.
That Lone Druid, my goodness. What a pick. I think that I would assume it caught them by surprise because it dominated.
I mean, the early tempo, you've got all the auras coming through, Boxy, with some incredible movement in the early game as well, and Talon just didn't really get to fight back in this game, but still a top 3 finish for them.
Yeah,
pretty damn impressive.
They shouldn't be hanging their heads. They played a terrific tournament, but Liquid, they've been to basically, other than Dream League Season 20, they've been to every grand finals of Tier 1 tournaments this calendar year. It's usually a losing effort against Gaming Gladiators. They don't have to worry about that now. And coming from the lower bracket, they've already faced off against Spirit. I think they're going to have learned a lot from that matchup as well.
Well, they're going to say thank you to Talon for beating Gaiman out of this tournament. As now they get the grand finals against a new matchup. And that is going to be, honestly, this early tempo against Spirit, who then can try and fight back. Yeah, this is going to be a sick match.
Yeah, I absolutely cannot wait to see it. But obviously a little disappointed this didn't go 3 games.
Yeah.
Talon, this second game just was not close. But what can he do? I mean, they did play a brilliant tournament overall. Like you said, top 3 is very impressive.
They're trying to make it easy for themselves, but Liquid, I think they just had a very good strategy coming in. Talon didn't have the type of power to fight back, and that was one of the cleanest games I've seen from literally all 5 of the Liquid players.
The fact that it wasn't like a final pick Lone Druid, but the Lone Druid pick just felt like it won the game.
It was unsalvageable at that point. It was way too hard.
Absolutely. So with that, Team Liquid will be going to the grand finals to face off against Team Spirit. Let's get an interview with them right now.
Thank you very much. I am standing by with Insania of Team Liquid. Can we get a round of applause, please, for an amazing series as we crown our lower bracket final champion and you make your way to the grand final. Although this series seemed comparatively much more straightforward compared to the last time that you faced off against Talon. How did you guys revise strategies when you came into this lower bracket final?
I think it's just a lower bracket buff.
Well, it's Lima all over again? Is that what it is? I thought Jabs was your lower bracket buff back in Lima, though.
I just think we play better when we're in lower bracket. I think when we have the comfort of being in upper, we just don't play as well.
زي ما تشوفون معنا انسانيه من فريق ليكويد. اعزائي المشاهدين سالنا السؤال الاول بخصوص المباراه هذه اللي شاهدناها في الابر براكت وكانت النتيجه كلنا عارفينها راحت الجيم الثالث وبالاخير كانوا قدروا يفوزون الجيم الاول بس بالاخير اخذوها ليكويد لكن يوم رجعوا مره ثانيه لعبوا المباراه الحين كانت مره وان سايدد فايش تغير من الاستراتيجيه حقتهم؟ هذا كان السؤال الاول. الجواب كان يقول هذا تقريبا البف حق اللور براكت فاينل. احنا دائما اذا صرنا في اللور براكت وما احنا مرتاحين واشياء ممكن انها تروح علينا كلها دائما نلعب بطريقه افضل.
I want to stick to LAN events in terms of your journey and your consistency. You had Lima Grand Final, you had Berlin Grand Final, you had Bali Grand Final. How are all these journeys different or maybe even similar compared to this Riyadh Grand Final that you're in now?
I mean, the difference is there's no gaming gladiators waiting for us in the final. No, it should be a really exciting final against Spirit, I think. They kind of got us yesterday, and I hope we came up with some good ideas and we can take it back to them today.
سألنا زيني السؤال الثاني في المقابلة بخصوص كل المياجر اللي لعبوها الفترة الماضية سواء كان في ليما أو حتى في بالي أو حتى في برلين دائما هم يكونون في الجراند فاينل بس دائما يحصلون المركز الثاني. فايش الفرق من كل المياجر اللي لعبها السنة هذه عن رياض ماسترز؟ يقول إنه أول شيء جيمنج جلاديترز ما ينتظرونهم في نهائيات فهذا أهم شيء نتكلم عنه. لكن النقطة الثانية إنه سبيريت فازوا علينا المرة اللي راحت لكن المرة هذه بيكون عندنا فرصة إننا نفوز عليهم لأنه عندنا أفكار جديدة للمباراة.
For some people, it may seem kind of like a foregone conclusion, like, of course Liquid is going to make it to this point. But I feel like that kind of discounts the amount of effort that you guys have put in. It is not easy to get to this many grand finals over and over and over again against these kinds of opponents. So for your side, the energy that you have had to put into this, are you becoming kind of numb to it also? Or you find that every single time you're fighting your last breath to make it to these grand finals?
No, I think we always have to put in the effort. Like, there's no team that is like, everyone's trying so hard. It's this part of the year where like it just gets harder and harder and harder. And as soon as you get comfortable, you get caught. It's like it happens immediately. For example, the Dream League last one before we went to Bali, we got absolutely destroyed by everybody. And that's just, we took a few weeks off and that's all it took. And then you're last place. So no, it's a lot of effort, a lot of hard work. And, I have 4 amazing guys with me, along with a really nice support staff in Liquid. And they all help out and everybody does their part and that's why we're able to keep coming back here and keep playing these finals, I think.
سألنا إنسانية السؤال الثالث في المقابلة بخصوص كل المياجر اللي هم لعبوها زي ما احنا ذكرنا قبل شوي دائما هم يوصلون في الجراند فاينل لكن ممكن الشيء هذا الناس يتساهلون عنه يقولون انه شيء طبيعي انه تيم ليكويد بيوصلون للجراند فاينل في رياض ماسترز بس الناس تنسى صعوبة النقطة هذه انه كيف بيقدرون يوصلون في كل مرة كونسيستنتلي في كل مرة يوصلون في الجراند فاينل باستمرارية مرة كبيرة. فهل الشيء هذا هل انتم تشوفونه انه صعب؟ هل انتم تشوفون انكم تحاربون الى اخر لحظة عشان تصلون النهائي ولا كان الوضع انه لا والله عادي انه الشيء هذا متوقع؟ يقول لا فعلا انه احنا مجرد ما اننا نرتاح وناخذ راحتنا شوي على طول احنا نخسر. ومثال على الشيء هذا يوم صار في الدريم ليج بعد ما وصلوا نهائيات على طول خسروا المباريات حقتهم بسبب انهم اخذوا اسبوعين 3 اوف ما لعبوا ولا سووا ولا شيء. فيقول انه المره هذه احنا بنتاكد انه مو هو الشيء اللي قاعد يصير وإحنا جايين اليوم عشان ناخذ البطوله.
All right, Insania, no pressure, but you have a $2.5 million money match to get ready for, so I will let you prepare. Congratulations, and one more round of applause for Team Liquid for making it to the 4th LAN Grand Final this year.
زي ما تشوفون تيم ليكويد بيتوجه الى الجراند فاينل على طول قدام تيم سبيريت. المباراه هذه قيمتها لحالها $2,500,000 مبلغ ابدا ما هو بسيط بس مين اللي بيقدر يفوز فيه هذا اللي احنا راح نعرف ان شاء الله. فعلى طول نرجع للاستديو.
Shukran Laka, Insania, where Tsunami and Insania and Tsunami Fancy, thank you so much for a game that genuinely was incredible to watch. Not that it was that competitive, but it's always good for you to see a team come up with an idea, execute it to this level, and cruise themselves into the grand finals.
That's what I was saying. I would have been really happy and their biggest fan if they picked Lone True. They did it, so I'll be true to my words. I'll be their biggest fan going into this grand final. And I think this is very reminiscent of, like we talked about before, I was very similar in EG in 2015. Team Secret was that one team that we just couldn't beat throughout the year. Then some team disposed of them rather, in the lower bracket. You're going into the grand finals now as Liquid. You've been in this situation a lot, but you have a new opponent this time. And I feel like that has to be really... It'll inspire a lot of confidence for them. And how many opportunities are they going to have this chance where they can play grand finals while Gaming isn't there? They should not take it for granted and just do the best, because these opportunities might not come again.
Yep, especially because the opponent they have here, Lacoste, is a squad that generally speaking wins when they're in the grand finals. The only time Team Spirit finds themselves losing is if they're playing PSG LGD at the Riyadh Masters or OG at that one major. Despite that, if Team Spirit is in the final, they win.
Yeah, this team is really good at just showing up when it really matters, especially like during the grand finals. There's like some magic involved in Team Spirit, because the way they play, they're gonna get like the best out of themselves in the grand finals, and they're also gonna get the best out of the enemy team.
In the same vein, though, I just feel like Team Liquid, they had such good prep in this series. I don't know how many more amazing strategies they have cooked up, but that one was, it just was so simple that when they won, the players, they all died. You know, they all took their glasses off slowly. They're like, yeah, we knew we won 20 minutes ago. That was how obvious it was for them. So I just feel like Team Liquid's going to bring it to Team Spirit here. We'll see if there's more draft cool stuff that happens, but yeah, they have a great shot.
Yeah, they came really well prepared into this one, having second pick 2 times in a row and utilizing it insanely well. First game, they had like instant snap pick, Medusa plus ET after this Undying opener, and then getting the Pango for themselves, and the second game taking Enchantress, so focusing really strong in the laning stage. And I think their idea was, we gotta hit an earlier timing. In both of these games, we gotta finish the game early on. We don't want it to drag on for another like 50-60 minutes. This has to be like one of the faster series compared to that. I believe the average game at Riyadh Masters is around 40 minutes last time I checked, and they managed to close it out relatively early on. I think it also comes down to Talon not really utilizing the last pick. I was not feeling this IO pick. Sure, there's some battery for Storm Spirit, but other than that, there was not much to do.
Yeah, unfortunately for Talon Esports, we do say goodbye to them, and they didn't necessarily feel like they were as comfortable as we've seen them throughout this playoff run. It felt, I don't know what it was, but it just felt like something was off with the team in terms of how they were able to play the map as they normally do here at this tournament.
I think that's mainly just because Liquid just utterly outpicked them here, and they did what they did to get here on Talon, and they do it really well, and I think they definitely deserve to be there. But I think Liquid kind of showed us how you play second pick now. First pick is you pick for your comfort. On second pick, you play to defeat the enemy's comfort, and they did that really well. So they know exactly what Talon was going to pick. They preemptively countered in a lot of situations, and then they used a little advantage that they did have on second pick, where they could counterpick the last pick, but also that on that fourth pick there on second pick, they counterpicked the first 4 heroes that Talon did pick. So it's really going to take a lot of time in preparation for Liquid, and they don't have as much time going into the grand finals to find a second pick strategy that's going to counter Team Spirit here, but they did a really good job just kind of dismantling the strategy of Talon here.
Because what I think also comes down to, in terms of how the drafts worked out, right, is we get to see the most versatile team in the tournament in the form of Team Liquid going up against the third least versatile team on the side of Talon Esports. And I think it played out in the draft, right? You could just see that there weren't as many options for Talon Esports to dive deep into their bag.
Yeah, the draft was just, it was just completely in Team Liquid's favor for sure. And frankly, I just want to congratulate Team Liquid, because I think everyone's been talking about Gaming Gladiators all year. Team Liquid has had the second best year without a doubt. They've been in how many grand finals? This time they're going back to another grand finals. Like, they're getting close to rivaling the Gladiators in terms of year performance, even though both of them are unique and interesting. So I just don't think we talk enough about how great Team Liquid is, and because they get overshadowed, and this is the first tournament this year that they've been able to finally overshadow Gaming Gladiators.
Well, we have an example of how good Team Liquid has been in this particular series, as our STC play does come from them. A very strong timing push coming through the mid lane. And let's take a quick look. Lacoste, walk me through it, exactly how this is able to just close out the game when they are in a dominant position.
Yeah, you can already see the advantage that Team Liquid does have, and pushing the high ground, like Talon, they need to invest heavily into this one, because it needs to be dual. It needs to be Chronosphere to be able to land the kill, but you see like Enchantress immediately with the heal on top of it, like Boxy with some clutch spell casting coming out as well, and Pipe on Zai, like he itemized for the team on the Darkseer. One of the reasons why this hero is so popular. And Draw Ranger, you can see like pre-BKB, pre-Manta style. against Storm Spirit, against Faceless Void, this Gust comes in very clutch. And after you lose this fight against the Lone Druid, you know that you're going to lose the barracks, at least one side.
Yep, Nisha is now 7-1 on his Lone Druid. Hasn't played it all that often, but generally when they whip it out, it does tend to win. And going back to what Purge was saying, Fear, about how Liquid have had such an amazing year getting to all these grand finals, Nisha, since TI, has been in every LAN Grand Finals since then. And even at TI, he was playing some of these Lone Druids, getting them into those finals. Just what a god, what a guy to be this good, this consistently.
Is that a question?
Oh, like, keep building on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Nisha's good.
I mean, he's a pretty good player. I got you on that one. He's very, very good at this game. One of the best mid laners going into this year, right? He was the guy to look at. Like, can anyone beat him after that TI performance? How he was like carrying Secret game after game through the mid lane, still doing it at the beginning of the year, and he's still doing it towards the end of the year. This guy is good. I agree with you.
One of the best players in the world that we've seen, and of course his skill is what has allowed Team Liquid to yet again get into a grand final situation. And that of course means that he is our Kadia MVP of the series. Great performance coming out of him. Good game on Pango in game 1, Purge. Great game on the Lone Druid in game 2. And the fact that we know he's super versatile, but he hasn't had to play that many heroes. Like, he's played a lot of them, yes, but he's only played like once or twice when the game is good for it. He's relied a lot on Snapfire, relied a lot on the Ember, a lot of Leshrac, but the fact that he still has 5 or 6 S-tier heroes behind that must make drafting very easy for Blitz.
Yeah, and he can win without any items either. Just Magic Wand, 2 Ironwood branches in that post-game screen. He had a great game. You guys thought he was MVP. I thought it was Boxy personally. And watching some of these clips back, I'm still more blown away. Just every fight he does something really cool. But by all means, Nisha is going to be headlining this. But I definitely want to give a shout out to Boxy because he caught Void in so many bad situations with this fraction of a reaction time. He's had a great couple series too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just completely biased, so that's why he got MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Nisha is the best player in the world. I've been saying it for like 2-3 years now, so let's go with Nisha. But joke aside, Nisha, like after he joined Team Liquid, I think he kind of adjusted his playstyle. He doesn't need to be that guy that carries the team on his back because you have Mickey, you have Zai, you have Boxy, Insania as well. You'll see different heroes. Different players from the team carrying the game throughout the whole event, and sometimes it's going to be some clutch saves coming out from Insania. Sometimes it's going to be Boxy coming out with like Orchid on his position for Clockwork or whatever. But this whole team, they just synergize so well together.
In your opinion, Purge, is there a better 4-position player in this tournament than Boxy?
Better than Boxy? I think Mira's at like a very equal level. Like Mira's fantastic on Team Spirit as well. He's impressed me a lot. I thought Omar looked really good in a lot of matches as well. He played fantastic. There's a lot of good 4 positions. It's just harder for them to stand out, I feel like, against these core players that are so integral and get put in these like really tough moments where they're like 1v3. So it's easier for them to fall under the radar just a little bit, but if you watch back the clips at slow speed, there's moments like that where they completely change a fight outcome.
Yep. One of the players that's also changed a lot of the outcomes for Team Liquid is Zai as well. One of the strong leaders in the game. Game 1 playing Beastmaster, very strong performance from him. Game 2 on the docks here. We see more and more why Fear this hero gets banned in the first phase. I'm not sure this should be allowed in the grand finals.
And I think having a player like Zai is especially scary because he can play all the meta, but he can play the off-meta stuff too. And that's why he's really scary. You can't ban this guy out. But he also isn't like picking heroes that are just like really hipster and that he just wants to play for fun. He's going to play the meta, but if you ban out all the meta, he's got a whole bunch of heroes that he's going to pull out in that last pick. And having players like that is invaluable.
Yep. Unfortunately, and speaking of offlaners, Jabs on the side of Talon Esports, despite his creativity at this tournament, despite the wide bevy of heroes that he has played, they were unable to get past the juggernaut of Team Liquid, which means that they will be going home and Southeast Asian flag will be going down here at the Riyadh Masters. Before they say goodbye though, we have a final word coming in from Jabs himself, the offlaner of Talon Esports. Let's hear what he has to say about his journey here at the Riyadh Masters.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm standing by with Jabs of Talon. Jabs, I actually vividly recall that probably around 2 years ago, you had joined me on the stage in Stockholm when you were on Fnatic. And I remember that it was another incredibly difficult loss for you, but I feel like I've seen so much growth out of you and your teams over the past 2 years. While you were not able to get the victory here, I was wondering if you could maybe walk me through what this past year or even 2 years has been like for you as a Dota player.
I think I just like grow up a lot as a captain and as a person too. So I'm trying to be like better and better. But like this loss kind of tough because like I think they just prepare better than us, and I really think that they came to the game and their plan is just like way better. So I think like we lost.
While that did happen to be a loss in this game, a lot of people were expecting that after the upper bracket loss that you guys would have a very difficult time recovering. Like, seeing your reaction, consoling 23, you are a rock for this team. How were you able to keep everyone so solid moving forward in that first lower bracket series that you guys had?
I don't think it's only like it's a 3-4 that game because like I could have pushed out the lane before that too, and like we all could have like pushed out the lane. So three is like carrying out the whole game, and you know one mistake is gonna happen, and like if it happened, it happened. So we continue to play the game next game.
That's an amazing mentality to have. And Jabs, like, if a game like this happens, it happens. Ultimately, your next journey is going to be looking forward to the international, the only Southeast Asian team to directly qualify for it. How are you planning on spending these next 2 months as you look forward to that and maybe even relax a little bit?
Right now, after this, we're gonna like take a big break because like we haven't been on the break for a while. So we're gonna have a break and boot camp somewhere, and we're gonna prepare really well for the upcoming TI. And I think we're gonna do well.
Well, Jabs, I gotta say, from your interaction with me 2 years ago to now, you are seeming like your mind is so clear, and I'm sure that this is a incredibly tough loss, but the way you're handling it, and I have no doubt that you are an all-star captain for this team. It's been a pleasure watching you. Congratulations on a top 3 finish, which is still an exceptional result, and best of luck moving forward as we pass it back to the panel.
Thank you very much, Jabs, and thank you very much, Tsunami, for giving us that amazing interview. Very sad day to say goodbye to Talon Esports, but they made this tournament very, very entertaining, and they'll just be going back. They're gonna hate to see that replay over and over again. People are gonna spamming them with it, but like you said, it's probably gonna be good for their career. TI around the corner. You know, good lesson to learn right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be really tough when people send Twitch clips of the lone druid being picked. They're gonna be like, oh, there it is again. It'll be really hard. I feel like 23 Savage is gonna get over the other stuff that happened. That's fine. And I think it's also gonna feel less bad because they got so soundly defeated in this series. Draft was an issue, and draft is always so important in those like last 3-ish series of the tournament. That's really where you make or break a tournament. You can have these fantastic players who are equally skilled as Team Liquid, but if you can't draft better in these moments, that's the edge that changes it.
Yeah, I think the boys from Talon should be proud about their performance here, not just here, but throughout the whole DPC year, especially here because they managed to get top 3 against the best teams in the world. And yeah, like the recovery, I think 23 Savage, after like what happened, sometimes it can hunt you down, you know, KY, XY, denying the ages, like that's the sort of a thing. But yeah, they managed to get the win against 9 Pandas, against Gaming Gladiators as well. They knocked them out of the tournament. So I think the boys overall should be pretty happy. You know, you're not in the grand finals, but they should be proud of the success that they made here.
Yeah, not only proud of the success here, they've had a good year overall here, and especially, we're all going to talk about 23 Savage, right? But I want to focus on Makoto. What a year this guy has had. Like, consistently at the tournament when they've done well, not only has he been one of the best players in the team, he's been one of the best players in the tournament, even if they don't go on to win it.
I mean, this is a top 3 team in the world. I can make an argument for every single one of their players on this roster being one of the best in the world. And Makoto, no exception. This guy in the mid lane, he's been showing that he's incredibly good on multiple heroes. And, you know, Jab, sometimes he likes to play a little bit of a weird hero. Who's the guy that makes up for that? It's normally Makoto. But Makoto also shows that he can carry a game when he needs to as well. The versatility on this team is top-notch, and that's why this team is doing so well.
But speaking of versatility, Purge, as we now do turn our attention towards the final series of the day, we have a grand finals coming up between Team Spirit and now Team Liquid. And Talon Esports, Jabs mentioned himself that they had better preparation from the side of Liquid for this particular series. One squad that has shown, especially here in the upper bracket, that you can whip out random strats that no one else can see coming. Before Team Liquid was doing it, it was Team Spirit dazzling us with first pick Ancient Apparitions, you know, making us question ourselves with last pick Bristlebacks, but somehow making it work consistently.
Yeah, their picking was a little bit different than everyone else in the tournament, and I thought that was going to hurt them in their upper bracket finals, and it did not. They opened Beastmaster line in 2 of their games at least, and it was just really effective. It covered a lot of bases. Guaranteed Collapse had a good hero. You know, it's not the traditional opener that other teams went for, but hey, if you're getting wins out of it, if you get that last pick Yuchoro hero that does counter the game, it's the recipe for success for Team Spirit.
I really liked how in Game 3 they utilize collapses Lycan, because he dominated. That game 3 that was not close at all. They were running inside their base 15-20 minutes into the game, diving almost to tier 4 towers, which is something that doesn't happen, especially at Riyadh Masters, because the games are slightly longer. But Team Spirit, they figured them out. Same thing happened. Liquid figured out Talon, how to draft. So I want to see how much Liquid is going to be able to punch back when it comes down to drafting against Team Spirit.
What do you think the adjustments are going to be here? We saw how good they prepared for Talon Esports. Was there enough time to prepare for both Talon Esports and Team Spirit for the Liquid boys?
Not necessarily, but they will have a little bit of time. But what I think is good here, though, that we're seeing is a meta evolvement. I think all the past data that we have from the upper bracket, even 2 series back, it's all out the window. We're seeing a lot of new things. First phase, Medusas. I feel like Team Liquid, especially, their second phase right now, they figured out what they need to do to win games on second pick, and I feel like no other team has really shown that type of formula right now. So Liquid, I was sure they lost to Team Spirit going to the lower bracket here, but after watching this series, I feel like Liquid has yet again leveled up, found a way to be an even better team than what they already were, and they're looking really good.
Well, Team Spirit will find themselves yet again in the grand finals, coming from the upper bracket this time, unlike last year in the Riyadh Masters. Team Liquid, they're the lower bracket boys. We expect these kind of runs from them at this point in time. Before we take a long break, though, all of us are going to be replaced on the upcoming panel. So, Perch, give me your... Let's reflect a little bit on the tournament, right? As Lacoste was mentioning earlier, this is some of the best Dota we've legitimately seen in years and years and years. Give me, when you reflect and you just think back on the last 2 weeks, right? What comes to mind for you across all these days of Dota?
What comes to mind? I mean, so many things. Watching the meta development, it was. Do you want me to talk for 3 minutes? I definitely can. Look, there's been. I'm happy there's been hero variety, despite the previous tournament having kind of refined hero variety. I love the play-in stage, the multiple group stage format. It's a lot of Dota, but it definitely lets the best teams come through. I think that's excellent. And then so many close series, and I just love that they were always close game 3s too. That's the coolest part about Dota, when you're like, okay, one botched team fight, you lose the game. And then when they just kind of barely make plays back and forth to prevent the other team from closing it out, it's just so cool. So yeah, just a lot of things. Great tournament.
It's been a great tournament. Lacoste, who's been your favorite team to watch, even if it's not one of the squads in the top 3? Actually, give me a team that's not in the top 3. Who's been your favorite team?
9 Pandas for me. I think this team has a lot of potential. They showed it at the tournament, bombed out, lost to Talon Esports. They had their number yesterday, but overall, strong team coming into TI. I'm feeling that this team could go really, really deep into the tournament, because they have... It seems like Ramses was the missing piece after... needing a carry after Lima Major. They needed something, and so Solo plus Ramses, they reunited the dad and son story. It's finally coming back together again. And Kiyotaka, he's just a different beast on a mid lane. Definitely, even up there for the MVP of the tournament as well for me, because the guy just plays everything and he plays it so well.
Speaking of level ups, one thing that we have seen across this tournament, the story of Lauf here. All of us had reservations about this player coming into the tournament, right? At this point in time, it must feel really good for him to be able to say, guys, just look at my performances. Tell me I don't belong on a TI winning team.
Oh, absolutely. I think Laurel has leveled up more than any other player at this tournament. He's definitely... I used to watch Spirit games and I'd be like, this team is going to win or lose depending on Laurel's performance, right? And sometimes that's just how it was. But as it's gone on more and more, he's been just not only been winning the mid lane, he's been the reason why they've been winning the game, carrying the games by himself. So I think he's definitely really stepped up for the team, and that is something that Spirit has needed all year long. And what a better time to do it too, one of the biggest tournaments of the year by far. So this is... We saw at the end, Yatoro just pick up Laurel and just give him a big hug and lift him off the ground. It's like, yeah, you're staying, buddy. We stuck with you the whole year. You finally came through, and Spirit's looking really good, and he finally is fitting the mold that they wanted him to fit.
And it's interesting because we've seen oftentimes Eastern European can be a fairly volatile region. If somebody comes into a successful team and doesn't perform instantly, very easily they get booted to get a more stable, old school player. But Team Spirit's one of the few teams that will reliably stick with a player up until they get good.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the trope that existed heavily 6 to 10 years ago, maybe in sometimes more recent, but lately that hasn't really been the case. BB Team is maybe another great example of a team that it was a power team. Usually what happens, you get a power team, doesn't work. One of the players leaves. They're like, I'm too good for this, They stuck together. Team Spirit's another one where they just were solidified. Obviously, they gave it a good run with Toronto Tokyo after they won TI, but yeah, both great teams, and I'm happy to see them not only staying together, but also getting better afterwards. That's that crucial part that's really fun to watch.
And Lacoste, what do you think has changed? What was it about this tournament that allowed our top 3 to be an international affair and not just the usual Western European run of 2023?
I mean, sort of like a stand-in situation that happened with Tundra as well, but I believe it comes down to Eastern Europe because they really stepped it up. They had 3 teams in the upper bracket quarterfinals. They had the Bonga Boots team, they had 9 Pandas, and they also had Team Spirit. So I think like these inter-regional matchups that they play, because they also get to practice more against Western Europe, is what makes this team, like teams from the region, very strong.
Well, we are about to get into our grand finals very shortly. When we do, it's going to be some incredible Dota 2 action between Team Liquid and Team Spirit. I'm going to do my panel a favor. I'm not even going to ask them for predictions. I just want them to watch and enjoy the games that they get presented to us. Sadly, that does mean our run is over, boys. I gotta say, it has been a pleasure, gentlemen. This year of Dota has been, it's my first year actually being on camera as a host in this fashion, so it's been an exhilarating experience, obviously getting to travel the world, getting to work with people I've admired for a very long time. Y'all have made me feel very welcome. I really do appreciate it. Purge, you've taught me a lot. Thanks, Purge. Everybody, spam it out in chat. What a guy, what a legend. Lacoste, your insights are always very great. Your pun game is always excellent. And Fear, I feel like just standing next to you makes me gain MMR. I've learned a lot about the game. I've learned to hate Monkey King, of course, because of you, but also my perspective on Dota has improved just having you around. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I've appreciated it a lot.
That's a powerful aura to have. I would buy that.
Got to stand a little closer.
Always fun working with you, Snare, and the rest of the panel.
So everybody, we are going to be going to a fairly extended break because Team Liquid and Team Spirit have to prepare themselves for a grueling 5-game best-of-5 extravaganza. I'm almost certain it's going to go the full distance. Team Spirit versus Team Liquid. Thank you all, everybody at home, for giving us your time and attention for this lower bracket final, for the entirety of the Riyadh Masters, and thank you all for joining us for the finale in just an hour or so. Come back, stick around, get some water, remember to love yourselves and to share your love of Dota with us very shortly for the grand finals, the end, where we crown some new legends here at the Riyadh Masters.